Here with Belal Muhammad, current UFC champion. First off, congratulations on winning that. That was an awesome fight.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no, I believed in you, and it was a good fight, man. What, Leon Edwards?
Yeah. So that was one of those fights, right? We had the first fight. It went to like eye poke. Ended up in a no contest.
Right, it was a no contest.
So I was assuming that I would get a rematch right away. It didn't happen. I had to go out there, win 5 fights after that. Then I was like, I'm glad it happened like that, right? Because now it was a bigger moment for the title in Manchester, and then go down there and beat him like that. It felt so good.
Yeah, and I was impressed. I thought you outstruck him. I think you were still smart by taking him down, but you were winning all the striking exchange. I think a lot of people don't realize that because he's the guy that's supposed to be the way better striker. I think you still had the good strategy to take him down, but you were kind of lighting him up on your feet. Did you agree with that assessment or no?
Yeah, I think people just underestimate my striking, right? People just label me as, you're just a grappler. But a lot of the guys I train with are amazing strikers. So I'm getting better every single day as I'm doing it. And I think that these guys don't realize it until I get in the cage that, oh, dang, he's a striker too. He hits hard. He does this. But every fight I do is a different strategy. So it's like that's the difference between me and a lot of these fighters. A lot of them just could only go one way. Me, I could adjust. If I have to strike with you, I'll strike with you. If I have to grapple, I'll grapple with you. If I just have to wrestle, I'll wrestle.
I think that people underestimate you because they're like, oh, he's not the best striker in the world, not the best grappler in the world, not the best wrestler in the world. But you're really good at all of them, and you mix it well. Your fight IQ's high. Your conditioning is great. Because I was watching some of your fights the other day, and I'm like, damn, I'm not really seeing any holes.
Yeah, I think that's what separates me because I want to learn everything. There's some guys that hate grappling or they hate wrestling, and they just want to keep, let's just keep striking. I was hearing some dude yesterday saying that he's like, I was a college wrestler, but then I realized that they don't like wrestling here, so all I'm doing is striking now. And I'm just like, bro, wrestling's every champion's a great wrestler. Every champion has wrestling. Like, you could add in striking, but don't forget about the most dominant aspect of MMA, which is wrestling.
Dude, so many wrestlers make that mistake. They're amazing wrestlers. Then they start striking. Then the wrestling's not that good. I'm taking these national down, Olympic champions down easy sometimes because they switch to striking and they not doing wrestling anymore. You don't keep it if you're not doing it.
Yeah.
You'll be better than other people that haven't done it, but you're not going to be a elite level wrestler if you're just striking.
Exactly.
You don't understand
you can take it with even like the Bo Nickel last fight where people are coming at him like, why don't you take him down? But then it was like, if you took him down and dominated him, they're like, this guy's only a nut hugger. Why isn't he striking with him? So then he had this whole fight striking. So I even talked to him yesterday. I'm like, bro, do what you're best at. Win the fights the way it's supposed to be won. Don't matter if the fans are going to boo you or not. As long as you're winning, they're going to realize how good you are.
No, exactly. You keep winning. We'll get into the guys you fought later. Let's go real quick to you were supposed to fight last night. I'm terrible with his name. What's that? Chalcott, yeah. But you had a staph infection. I was supposed to interview you right before, and you showed me that foot. And you were still trying to fight. I'm like, bro, don't fight. I'm glad. I think your coach told you the same thing, right? Your coach was like, no, bro, you can't fight.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. It was like, went to my foot like blew up, and I was like,
you showed me a picture.
What is it? And then I sent it to pictures to the doctor, and he's like, we took oral antibiotics, and he's like, bro, 2 days later, it was still bigger. He's like, you need to go to the hospital right now.
Yeah.
And then it ended up being like a bone infection, so osteomyelitis. And it was like climbing up the foot. And he's like, we got to go to surgery right away and like get it out of there because you could lose it. And I was like,
I have a fight. Yeah, I can't get a surgery.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, bro, we took an MRI. So he said, if it lit up, then we're in a bad spot. So then we took the MRI. Then he like came into the room and was like, bro, sorry, you got to go in right away. It's lit up, so it's bad.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad you made the decision and did that and pulled out. I know as fighters, we just want to fight. We get obsessed. I fought her. Like, we won't listen. So you need people around us. Like, your coach, I guess, was just like, bro, you're not fighting. And the doctors like talk us into it because we're dumb. We'll fight and like, I'll get the surgery after, stuff like that. But it's like, no, the staffs can they can really mess you up.
Yeah, like for me, I'm not gonna go to the hospital or doctor unless it's too late, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
same, exactly.
I've had like a detached retina, and I didn't go until it was like fully black. At first it was starting to get like floaters, then it was starting to get a little bit shade to the top, and I was like, nah, it's fine. There's nothing there. It just probably got poked in the eye or something. And then it got to the point where I'm sparring and it went fully black, and I'm like, all right, maybe something's wrong. Maybe I could go to the doctor now. But that's just us, right? We're afraid.
Oh yeah, we don't want to go in cold. You can't fight because this is our life. It's everything. It's obviously, I know the streak you're on. I know your whole life is absolute obsession. You're not doing what you're doing without just being laser focused. I've had those moments when I'm on these crazy streaks, and you've been beating some good opponents. So that's everything to you. It ain't easy to pull out. So I'm sure it's pretty devastating to pull out, but it was the correct decision. This is a tough opponent. And what do you think of the fight last night with Ian Gary and
I mean, it played out kind of like the way I thought it would play out, especially because they trained together before, so they have an idea of how each other fights. I was more surprised. I felt like Shavkat kind of paced himself a little bit. Usually he'll go for finishes earlier.
Used to fight in 5-round fights, and 5-round fights are a lot different.
Yeah, and we were talking about that with I was talking about Forrest Griffin. They'll be like, "What adjustments do you have to make for a 5-round fight?" I think most fighters, if they don't have great cardio, they'll just adjust their pace. And I think that's what he did. He just adjusted his pace yesterday. But then he looked like he got a little bit tired at the end. That rear naked choke was super close.
He almost got choked. I thought his jiu-jitsu was a little better. Maybe it was just a mistake he made, but I was surprised to see that when and Gary was better than people were giving him credit for. I couldn't believe the odds on that. He was like 3.5 to 1 underdog. I'm like, Gary's good. I don't know why people don't like him. I think is why he's so unlikable.
Yeah,
which I was actually rooting for him because I like you and you're fighting him. We'd be making fun of you and Gary right now. It'd be a great, the guy's an easy guy to make fun of. He's easy to hate, but he's a good fighter. I respect him.
Yeah, 100%. I told people before, I was like, I think that Shavkat's overestimated, and I think Ian's underestimated.
Yeah,
people don't give him the respect. Yeah. Like he's had some hard matches himself, right? The way he fought MVP, MVP is a hard guy to fight. He's a puzzle. It's a weird guy.
Really good.
So he had to fight him that specific way. You don't want to sit there and play their type of game. And for him to go out there and fight Shavkat, he took him 5 rounds, right? Nobody's took him that far. He had his moments in the fight. He had a couple.
He had all finishes before that.
Yeah,
that's why he's so hyped. No, he's really good, but he also hasn't fought the level of talent you had. I looked at the guys he fought, and like a lot of the guys, he fought a couple good guys. Don't get me wrong, but he didn't have like your record. You look at it and you go, damn, but his record is not stacked like that.
Yeah, I think people they don't pay attention to resumes, right? Even with my resume right now, my 11-fight streak, we have the Damian Maia, Gilbert Burns, Luke on there. We got Leon Edwards, Sean Brady undefeated.
Every one of those guys is just a savage.
Yeah, so people just look at me and be like, oh, man, he sucks. I'm like, if I suck, then all them guys really suck.
Well, because it's different a 10-fight streak versus regular people, but this is a 10-fight streak versus guys that are all in the top 5 or 5 or 6. Like you're fighting literally 10 streak, the best guys in the world, and that's not easy to do in this sport.
Yeah, and it took me the long road to get a title shot, just to get there. I think that only made me better, right? Because I had to change every camp. I had to grow every camp. And it just put a chip on my shoulder that they're going to keep making me fight these best guys.
There may be some people who don't like you with the UFC. I think Dana's fine with you, but like I hear some of the people at ESPN from inside sources that don't exactly love you, maybe from the Palestinian heritage. The owner of the UFC, his dad was a literal terrorist for I think it was the Eigun. And they helped form Israel. I mean, you shouldn't comment on any of this, but they helped form Israel by massacring Palestinians and English. They did the first modern world terrorism attack, bombing the King David Hotel, killing 91 people. So it's and this guy's father is the guy that owns the UFC. So I don't think they love Palestinians that much. But yeah, I wouldn't comment on this if I was you. But it's like the guy that owns the UFC. But it just shows you there might be a little bit of bias that direction. And Dana, I think, has been good because he's been good with the Muslims and stuff. So it's definitely not Dana, but.
Yeah, and then, like for me, right, I'm just happy that I got the opportunity. People will say it and they'll do this, but like you said, Dana, it doesn't really matter to him. I'm glad that it took me the long road, but they did give it to me, right? So I just had to make the most of it, and now being the champion, now I just got to represent, and I just got to show the people of Palestine, that they have a champion now.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually really big. The fact that Palestine is just being massacred and genocided right now. Every international body has declared it a genocide. Our government's silent, which makes me irate. So to have a Palestinian champion, I think, is massive. I think that's huge. And I think that's why some of these guys didn't want that. They didn't want a resistance force from Palestine.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at, obviously, our government right now, the government before, it's crazy how much they don't care about kids dying. These are women, children, men. It doesn't even matter where they're from or what they're doing. It's like, we're showing you. You're seeing it every single day on Twitter, on Instagram, on social media. Like some of the videos I don't even want to post.
I had to stop going to the Telegraph channel because I was posting for a while, and I just had to stop posting because it was just I was seeing every day you go on there and you're seeing just dead children after dead children. And it was just I just couldn't go there anymore.
And you get kind of immune to it.
Like every week or two, I'll look again and I'll think, oh, maybe it slowed down. And it's just like hundreds of dead kids blown up, arms off. A dad holding their child crying with a dead little child. I have children and stuff, and it's just like, or a child with their dad on the ground being like, that. It's like, and you get these people trying to be like, it's fake, this, that. It's like, these people piss me off, burning tents alive. They're bombing refugee camps. They're not bombing military targets. It's just evil.
And that's what you said, where people will say it's the fake thing. But a charity we work with in Chicago. It's called PCRF. They bring in families from Gaza. And one of the UFC did a story on the little child that we brought, Jude. He lives with my family right now.
Oh, you took in that's amazing.
His knee was like blown up, and they had a big story on him because he had like a Spider-Man shirt on, and they showed the video of him just crying, and his mom died laying on top of him trying to protect him. But I'm like, this is a real kid. Here's a kid now, and even him trying to recover, right? Because he's been in here since March. So
when your parents die in front of you, that's not an easy thing to recover from.
He's 2 years old, right?
You guys are taking him in, but he's got some serious trauma, man.
He's 2 years old, so you're assuming that maybe hopefully he wouldn't remember it or anything like that. But then we're sitting in the pool and it's 4th of July, and all of a sudden he hears fireworks, and then he gets scared, and then you start seeing the little flashes. Or we're just sitting outside and like hears a police car going down the street or an ambulance, and then all of a sudden it starts triggering something in his head, and then it just reminds you, right? Because you seeing him smile, seeing him play, it's like the best feeling in the world. But then I see him walking, and he can't walk right because his legs, his knees bent inwards. So now he has to wear kind of like one of those braces from Forrest Gump, those big ones, just to try to straighten out his leg. And I'm like, this is just a 2-year-old kid. He didn't deserve this. He doesn't have. It shouldn't be like this. No. He shouldn't have had to live like this. He lost his mom. Now his dad's here, young. But that dad, we're seeing him traumatized as well. He's 30 years old. He's not like. He shouldn't be in war. He shouldn't feel like this. These are just normal people, normal kids that are dealing with this. And I think that the people that are saying, "Oh, this is fake. This is this," it's just like, how could you be so insensitive? How don't you have any like heart that you're seeing these people die, and you're just like
clearly real videos? I see a little girl lost like 40 members of her family. She's crying. She's all injured by herself. They killed her entire family. It's just like. And then there is no real like mission there. They keep saying release the hostages, but they're offering to release hostages. They've been for over a year, but Israel won't take them. There's riots all over Israel because people want their hostages back because Netanyahu refuses to take them. It just seems like a big land grab to me.
And you get the point, right, where you're like, if you're so worried about the hostages, you're just bombing anywhere, no matter what. You're not paying attention. It's not like you're sniping. Oh, they're exactly here. You don't know where the hostages are, right? So why are you just shooting, killing every single person, and you're bombing all these other places like. You're just throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Oh, all right, maybe we got one. Maybe we got one. But you're forgetting about the innocent people and even the people that survived, right? Like you said, the trauma, but the people that lost their family members, all these people, how are they going to live the rest of their life? How are they going to grow up? And if they do a ceasefire or they do this, like what's going to happen next? What's going to happen with all this?
Of course they're going to hate them. They're not going to kill your kids and then be like, oh, I love Israel. If they killed my children, I would join the resistance too.
Think about COVID. Like how many people over here are like, you're not going to keep me in my house. I got my guns. You're not going to force me to do this. Like people here got so crazy during that COVID time, just when we had to be on lockdown. But you're in your house. You have food, you have toilet paper, you have TV, you have all of this, and you still were going crazy. The people over there, they have nothing. Their water is measured by them. Their electricity is measured by them. Their Wi-Fi is measured by them. And that's how they're living. Even before that, where they're like, well, how was life before this? How was life before October 7th?
It was terrible.
They were treated like animals. They were treated like this. It isn't a normal life for them.
Yeah, no, I've been to Israel, and that's when I saw it. That's why I spoke out October 7th, and I think I lost like 10,000 followers that day. But I'd seen it and I'd done the research, and I'm like, these are not the good guys. I wasn't saying Hamas was the good guys. But I was saying it's a little more complicated than you're making it be. These guys are like, what are you supposed to do when they're killing your kids and raping you? And it's a sad situation.
They're getting treated like animals. Like to go to checkpoints. The checkpoints, animals, you're getting. You're in the cage. You're looking like this, and you have to go through, and then they're hitting you. They're making you embarrass you. They're trying to, strip you down. And it's like, as a fighter, as a man, like you have morals, right? You don't want to sit there and have somebody slap you around. You don't want to have somebody, treat you like trash. Especially if I see my kid or wife standing next to me, and they're trying to hurt them, and you can't do nothing.
And they have all the rape camps out there. These are well documented. You can find on Wikipedia. I think it's like crazy. They have these rape camps where they rape Palestinians, the men too. It's like degrading. It's just evil stuff they're doing. Like once you see it, it's just like I get so mad at the right wingers that sit back and they're like these terrorists, but then they're always like, yeah, if someone comes into America, I'm getting a gun and I'm fighting back. So it's like you're saying you would fight back, but you're saying these guys shouldn't. They should just take and be abused.
It's wild, right? Because people don't know how to put themselves in other people's shoes. People don't know how to do that. And just for the U.S. just to keep giving money. This is our tax dollars.
Yeah, this is what we're paying for.
we have a hurricane and, we're going to give these people $700. And it's like, are you guys serious right now? If all the money that we're giving to other countries to support their wars, if you give it to our people, just literally nobody would be suffering here.
Yeah.
The homeless people here would have homes. The homeless people here would have food. They don't think about that. And I don't think when you're a normal civilian here and there, you're just like brushing it off. Like, it doesn't affect me. Where I get that all the time where it's like, not my problem. Not my problem. That's in another country. It's like, no, but
because we're paying for
your
it.
money's going there, right? Your tax dollars are going there. While you're struggling to pay for your own groceries, the inflation keeps going up. Why is it happening? Because we're keep giving our money away, right? And it's, how do you think it's going to go in 10 years when, we're in more debt? We're in more debt. We're in more debt. But I think that people just keep getting distracted, right? Oh, Bitcoin's at $100,000.
Yeah, right.
A distraction. Haktua got a coin out. Distraction. And you're like, it's so easy to distract these people. And I think kind of like how just Kamala Harris' campaign, where you look the way that she was like, oh, let me just get a couple rappers out there or singers, and that'll win me over. These people are stupid. They'll just see that, all right, if this guy says vote for me, they'll vote for me. And you realize, like, do they really think we're that dumb? Is that how they really think
that dumb is the problem?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, how you're not embarrassed that you're thinking that if she puts this girl out there to say, Cardi B, to say vote for me, then I'm fine with it. And how much does she pay these people? And you're like, her whole campaign spent $1 billion on it, and it's like you're paying these rappers and singers and all this money.
You want to shake their ass and push degenerate culture and
it's
not
wild.
real issues. And another thing too is a lot of people don't realize almost all the big influencers and politicians are directly paid from Israel. And it's illegal for foreign governments to pay, but Israel's the one exception. They don't register under the FARA Act.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of these big. I didn't realize it till after October 11th, but I realized like all these Charlie Kirks. I started looking. They're all funded by Israel too. All the media. Candace Owens got fired as soon as she spoke against Israel.
It's
wild.
wild
About America. I think a lot of people though are realizing like, whoa, this country is like. They're evil over there, but they've also taken over America, so it does affect America. So even if you're cold-hearted and don't care about the Palestinians, it's like, well, they still control our country.
Exactly. You're seeing it's the leaders, right? The leaders of our country, the leaders of you're supposed to be in charge of the United States, right? Our freedom,
not Israel.
And it's like every single one of them, that's in their campaign. It's like Israel, 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 and you're like, bro, what about your country that? The people that are voting for you guys are hurting. They're struggling right now, and you're not even caring about them. Even if you don't even care about Palestinians, like look at yourself.
Even if you don't
look
care
at the
about
person next to you.
So even if you don't care about them at all, it's still affecting America. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at the people next to you. It's like I just don't think people see the bigger picture. How are you not noticing yet that your money's going away? The fact that you can't afford milk, you can't afford food. You can't. You barely can afford a haircut nowadays.
Prices are crazy. Like I said, the guys are us making money, and we still notice the inflation.
Yeah, and like you said,
the middle class are getting killed.
It's just wild. But then you see all these other countries, and you're like, this is our leader right now. Joe Biden is our leader right now, and
maybe.
And it's like he gets taken out of office. Why? Out of the next election, because they said he's not fit for office. But he still had another extra 4 or 5 months.
Yes, with
still running our country. So who's running the country?
Yeah, probably. Who's the Secretary of State? We got Anthony Blinken, who happens to also be Jewish. He went to Israel and goes, "I stand here before you as a Jew, not an American." To Netanyahu. So how do you have the person running the country say, "I stand to you as a Jew before America," to a foreign country? He should have been pulled out right there. And then, do you have any family in Palestine still, or second cousins?
Yeah, we have cousins in Palestine right now. Yeah, and they're in the West Bank, but still, people don't understand how bad it is over there.
This is actually interesting. I love that you brought up the West Bank. A lot of people don't even understand the difference between the two. There's no Hamas in West Bank, but you want to tell
there's no Hamas in the West Bank. There's no weapons in there because you can't get it past because it's not at the borders, right? So the people over there are still getting hurt, still getting killed every single day. They're still losing their homes, regardless.
Yeah, they call them settlers. Really, there's terrorists. These guys, Israeli citizens, they go in there armed and they harass Palestinians. They smack them. You can find videos of this stuff. They take their houses, they burn houses down, homes, they kill people.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And some of these settlers are even coming from like America. They'll come in and they can take home. They're taking land too. They're taking more and more land. So this is what happens if you don't resist. If you don't resist, they're going to come in, take your land, abuse you. So it's like, can you really blame Hamas? I'm not saying I'm going to support them, but it's like, can you not understand like why people would resist? If you don't resist, they go and rape you, abuse you, steal your home, burn your cars, slap you. There's videos come up humiliating people in front of their family. I'm not going to let someone come up and humiliate me in front of my kids. They'll come in, kick you out of their home, and use your homes. The military comes in and does that. It's just like
you said, there was that viral video where that guy, that settler was there and they're taking that lady's house. He said, "This is my house." And he said, "If I don't take it from you, somebody else will."
Yeah, that was super viral. Yeah, exactly. He's taking a house, stealing someone's house. And this guy was, I think, from Brooklyn or something. He's like, "You got your house." The girl's like, "Please don't take my home. Please don't take my home." He goes, If I don't steal it, someone else will. Some fat piece of shit.
Right? And it's like
people. It's a real video.
You show that video and people are, "No, that's not real." It is real.
It is real. It is real. It's proven real.
That's how it is.
So imagine if someone came into your home. It's like, you got to get out. And you're like, "Please don't." "No, I don't steal it. Someone else will. Sorry, I'm God's chosen people. I came from Brooklyn, but God promised me this land despite them not. You have Semitic, anti-Semitic too. You're a Semitic person. They aren't.
100%. People will tell me that. And I was like,
anti-Semitic? You are Semitic.
And they'll be like, "You hate Jewish people." I'm like, my best friend is Jared Gordon, who's Jewish. Right. I do my podcast with Jason Anik, who's Jewish. John Anik, my brother, is Jewish. So I'm like, it has nothing to do with the religion, right? It has
exactly.
The Zionism is different. They're trying to kill these people. They're trying to make sure that they don't exist. They're trying to take everything from them, that Palestine doesn't belong on a map. When you have Netanyahu posting a picture and then saying that, "Wait, where's Palestine at? It doesn't exist." Like, how you do that? How could you see that and not, be upset? It doesn't even have to. You don't even have to be emotional about it. Like, wait, what is this? If you're not Palestinian, it's like, but these are human beings. Like, you have to be human beings to see these. And that's why when I'll post videos of these people, I'm just showing you that they're real humans. These people that are bleeding, that are dying, that are starving, it's forced starvation. There's food that could be put there. Last week, PCR brought in 6 new families, and I'm seeing a little girl in a wheelchair with no legs, and I'm just like, she's like 6 or 7 years old, and it's like, how, like, this shouldn't be happening. This is real life. It feels like it's a movie. When you look at movies or shows like Game of Thrones, and you're like, "Man, this is fake. This leader can't be this crazy or this evil." And it's like, no, these people are that evil. These leaders at the top are that evil. They don't care because they have all the power in the world. So they want to look at us like we're slaves, or they look down on us like, "No, you don't belong in the same spot as me. You don't belong in the same breath as me. You don't belong to live on the same land as me." That shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, I know. I've never seen something so evil in my life. That's what really woke me up. I know a little bit was going on there because I've been to Israel before, but just seeing the extent of this evil, and they don't really have any goals. They just keep saying, "Give the hostages," but they're offering the hostages, but they won't. But they say, "Well, we'll give you the hostages if you stop bombing us," and they're like, "No." So when you see these dumbasses, that's the politicians are always, "Oh, tell them to release the hostages." It's like, that's not the deal. They don't care if they release the hostages. I think they want to take all the land. Is what I think.
Yeah, I mean, even when you say Trump, he just said, tweeted out saying like they need to give all the hostages back before I'm in office. It's like they tried to make the deal. They tried to do the deal. So he needs to get in there and figure out. All right, well, I'm hoping, right?
Yeah, because all we can do is hope he's better. He said some bad things, but Trump's hard to predict.
Because if he's gone down there before, right? He's tried to do negotiations, and he said it himself that Netanyahu is the one. I don't think he wanted to make the deal before last time he was in office. So it's like he just got to put an end to the killing now. Obviously, people say, "Oh, we want a ceasefire," but it needs more than a ceasefire.
Yeah,
it needs to be more than that, because regardless, if you stop killing them, what about their homes that they just lost? What about their buildings that they just lost? Like, it's going to take how many years to just build that all back up just to see where it was, and it's not even going to be near where it was.
Yeah, they basically destroyed the whole Gaza Strip. I think their plan is they're trying to get someone else to take them. They're just going to massacre them so bad where someone just feels bad, or they're just going to kill them all, or someone takes it and they take the land. That's what it feels like they're trying to do, and they're taking a lot of land in the West Bank right now. So it's very clear they plan on taking all that land.
Yeah, and then why doesn't Egypt take them, or they take them, and it's like, open the Jordan's borders, and it's like, you come to Europe, but like, no, this is their homes. That's why even a lot of them, when they were telling them to leave, it was like, no, you wouldn't want to leave your home. Yeah. If you're gonna die, I want to die in my house. This is where my family, my grandparents, my brothers all grew up. So it's like, for them to just tell them that, no, the biggest thing that I learned is that being a Muslim, right? You see how powerful it is for the people in Palestine. They're the strongest people in the world. Their faith is so strong that no matter what happens, all of them were just still saying, "We trust God's plan. We trust God's plan." And I think that they taught the Muslim world so much, because it just showed us that, like, being religious, a lot of the time you get to the point of, you start just trading off, right? God will understand if I do this wrong. God will understand if I do this wrong. But the people over there showed us how powerful it is, what it takes to really be a Muslim. Because if your brother just got killed and you're still thinking, that's God's plan, I got to trust it. If your house just got blown up and you're still saying, Alhamdulillah, thank you, God, for everything you've given me, because I'm still alive right now. I'm still seeing things. And I think they're getting that message out there more. It's more powerful that it's happening to them, and they're still staying strong. They're still having the faith. They're still smiling, and they're still praying, right? The scenes you see of the mosque getting blown up, and the people are still on a Friday prayer, still standing there all together, shoulder to shoulder. Yeah. And I've known doctors that are there, and I've talked to them, and they're saying that, like, they're still praying. They're still reading the Quran every single day. And I think it's just making us realize that we need to do better as Muslims. We need to help them more as Muslims, because as a Muslim, if your brother is hurting, you should be hurting. You should be feeling it. It shouldn't be just like brushing it off, looking to let me ignore it. No, you should be doing everything you can do to help them. Anything you can do to help them. It's about to be winter there. Sending them coats, sending them food, sending them money. Still putting it out there, putting the message out there for them that they do exist, putting the message out there that Palestine won't be forgotten, won't be erased. Because those people over there, they're still fighting. They're still there. They're still breathing. And I think it's been going on for over a year, and people are starting to, like, stop posting about them, stop thinking about them, but they're still dying.
No, it's
right?
still dying, exactly. And then non-Muslims should be helping too. You know, I try to do my part and, like, you know, be involved with charities. It's hard to know what charities to give to and stuff, but you want to do something to give and help. And it's just, I've been extremely disappointed, though, with the Muslim world. Not the people, but the some of those countries over there. They just abandon. I know it's hard militarily, but I feel like they've kind of abandoned Palestine.
Yeah, where you're thinking none of them want to make the first move, right? But it's because it's gonna start a World War III, right? If one of them step up, then it's gonna have them. But for the most part, it's like you're gonna just watch your brother and sister die. You're gonna watch them. They're starving right now. You got to help them. There has to be some sort of help. I'm surprised
there wasn't a little unity between the Muslim countries, because they're all beefing with each other. And instead, actually, I don't know if you saw this, because we were at the fights last night and stuff, but Syria, I think Assad got overthrown last night. I don't know the details behind it, but there was, like, the rebels kind of came in out of nowhere. Israel, I think, was backing them. Like, they're the ones that were kind of tied to ISIS before. A lot of people don't know, but Israel was helping ISIS because they were trying to overthrow. Our greatest ally was helping our greatest enemy. And somehow out of nowhere, they came and fled. And I think Assad is either dead or fled. I didn't have a chance to look this morning, but it's something really serious went on in Syria last night. And that could be a very, very big deal. We don't know what's going to escalate into that.
Yeah, I mean, that's only going to create bigger things, bigger wars happening in the Middle East, right?
No, I think that's really bad, because people taking over Syria aren't good people. That's what was crazy, why America was supporting that revolution. I don't know if we were involved with this one, but before we were giving them weapons a few years ago. And one thing I liked about Trump is he actually stopped that, or he tried stopping it. He tried evacuating troops, and the army was, like, bragging about how they didn't listen to him and left troops in there anyways.
Yeah, it's wild, right? And that's why I'm hoping, because like you could tell, Trump says he doesn't want no more wars, right? He doesn't want this to happen. So I'm hoping that when he gets in office, he puts his foot down. He doesn't get controlled by the people that were controlling Biden.
Yeah, because they gave him Miriam Alderson gave him $100 million, and she served in the IDF, born in Israel. You know, they took one of the worst spies in U.S. history, and a Jewish guy. They talked him into. They paid him basically to pardon him. They took him on their plane, flew him straight to Israel. So he's definitely taking a lot of money from Israel, but I hope he stabs him in the back.
Yeah, right. I mean, but that's politics, right? Everybody stabs each other in the back, so I'm just hoping it.
All we can do is hope at this point. He's definitely said some Israel first stuff, but all we can do is hope.
Yeah, so. Because it's stuff behind the scenes is different than stuff in front of the camera. So, yeah, man, it's wild.
Yeah. If you're getting into you being a Muslim, I've noticed I have a lot of Muslim friends, and it's funny because I take it from Palestine. People are always like, "Oh, Muslims hate you." I've been to a lot of these countries. It's the best I've been treated. The hospitality is amazing out there. You know, it's like I remember being there on Christmas one year, and they don't celebrate Christmas because it's Jesus, but then I still get brought a Christmas cake and Christmas presents because they like, no, it's my holiday, and it's like the best hospitality I've ever seen is in the Middle East.
Yeah, 100%. Even it's so funny when the first time we went to Abu Dhabi, I was training with Paul Felder, and we were both on a card, and he was just like, he was so nervous to go to Abu Dhabi, and he's like, "Can I wear short sleeves? Can I wear shorts?" I'm like, "Bro, what do you like? What did you Google? Like, I don't know what you think's gonna happen."
Media, they push it like the Muslims hate us and stuff, but they don't. They treat me, you know, I travel those countries by myself. Random strangers bringing me in to drink tea in their home and have conversations. It's like, you know,
100%. Even with Sneeko, when you came to the mosque with him, it's like, I love that you're open to just seeing it, right? And there's not a lot of guys or a lot of people that are open to seeing it because people sit back and they're like, what are they doing in the mosque? They're probably, scream Allahu Akbar and think about their terrorist attacks.
No,
and it's like, bro.
I was really surprised because he invited me to the mosque. I'm like, oh, I'm not Muslim. He's like, okay, you can come anyways. I'm like, okay, I'll go pray with you. And there were so many fighters there I didn't even know were Muslims, and everyone was so nice. Guys were coming up talking to me, but they weren't being preachy. And guys will if you ever want information about the religion, but no one ever tries pushing it down me. Like the Muslims, they do a much better job of recruiting the Christians, to be honest. I'm not religious, but the Muslims are always reaching out in a respectful way.
Yeah,
they've treated me so good. So when everyone says Muslims don't like me, it's like it's not the world I've seen. I think people maybe they should stop by a mosque, and there may be a few radicalized mosques. Don't get me wrong, but that's not the norm. Like when I stopped by that one, I was really surprised how nice and friendly everyone was. And
100%. As a Muslim, you should be showing the religion by your actions, right? It shouldn't be preaching. It shouldn't be standing there yelling at you like you're doing this wrong. It should be like
none of the Muslims do that to me.
Yeah, they should be like, oh, why are you praying right now? What is this?
Yeah.
It should get you. You should be acting in a way where it want them to know more about the religion. Yeah. Oh, you don't do this? Why? Or you don't do this? Oh, he doesn't curse. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do this. I want to be that type of role model where people look at me and they see the religion as beautiful. Because, as you said, there's obviously radicals or there's crazy people, but there's crazy Christians, there's crazy Jewish people out there. And at the end of the day, that's just craziness out of people. Yeah. As a Muslim, regardless of what I am, don't judge me. Don't judge the religion based off my actions, right? Because there's people out here that do wrong things that are Muslim, but don't judge that the religion. Judge that person. That person's doing something wrong. It's not the religion. The religion is perfect. But for the most part, when you see guys like Habib, Islam, and all them,
all great guys,
and getting the message out there, right? When you have Khabib getting on the mic and saying, listen to your parents, your fathers first, and then you got guys that other guys that'll get on the mic and want to promote themselves or promote their liquor brand. It's like it makes me want to do better when I see Habib. The UFC never posted before him that happy Ramadan or anything like that. But now they're starting to see it, and you have so many Muslims in the UFC. He opened the doors for so many of us
Muslims,
to get in there and to show us the path of how we should show the world what the religion is.
Yeah, no, Khabib's a great guy. I met him years ago before he blew up. I used to go down and spar him at AKA. We'd go. He'd always, every time he'd see me, he'd be like, today, I want to spar you. And we'd go 3 to 5 rounds because, he wants tough rounds. My grappling's so good and stuff. But he was every day wanting to spar me. We'd just go at it. The guy's just killer. But always, when you're sparring, it was not friendly. But afterwards, such a friendly, nice guy. Nothing bad to say about him. Such a good dude.
His whole crew. That's why I said it's so nice.
Yeah, no, it sucks seeing Nate and Islam almost got into it. And it's like, Nate's like my brother, so, but whatever. You're really close to Islam too, right? So sucks, but it is what it is. It just,
like you said, it's.
I trained with Islam once, but it was a while ago. He was good, but I think he's gotten way better. Everyone now says he's just a killer that trains with him.
Yeah, he's so good. And he's good everywhere. That's
he was really good when I trained with him. I think he's gotten way better since then.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because you have their whole room is full of killers. So every one of them sharpen each other up. Every one of them is the best. Like, they have the PFL lightweight champion now. They have the Bellator lightweight champion now, and they have Islam, the UFC champion now, and they're all on one team.
The Dagestanis they're tough people. They're hard people. You can just tell. They're loyal. Like if you're going to war, those are the kind of guys you'd want. Like 10 of those guys because they're going to die along your side. They're not going to run like cowards.
Yeah, and they're the most loyal people in the world, especially. How Habib said last time, where he's like, I like John Jones, but I can't be friendly with him because DC's not friends with him.
Yeah,
and
loyalty. Yeah,
that's just showing you, right? Like, that's how they are. If you don't like this person or you have beef with this person, then all right, I'm not gonna associate with them, even if he's a nice guy or cool with him like that. But that's what they are. They're all Brotherhood, and I think that's what separates their gym from a lot of these other gyms. Because some of these bigger gyms, if they get jealous, right? Oh man, he keeps winning over there, like. I'm not gonna help them out. I don't want to help.
Like big gyms are,
yeah, and like nobody cares about each other over there. But for them, when one of them have a fight, they all have a fight. They're all here. Islam and Umar both on the card in January, and you have their whole team coming down here. They all live in the house. It's like it's cool to see. It's cool to experience with them, and I was just blessed to be a part of their group, right? So now, anytime I get a chance to work with them or train with them, it only makes me better. It sharpens me.
Yeah, they are tight like that. I was actually very fortunate. You mentioned the jealousy. Me, Gil Melendez, Nate Diaz, Nick Diaz, we were the same way because we had different points. For one of us was more famous than the other, but there was never any jealousy. It was happiness. I go to some of these big gyms and you could just tell people are jealous and there's so much ego in there.
Yeah.
It's hard to manage these big gyms without egos, guys trying to hurt each other. But that's a good point. Those guys spar hard, but they don't try to hurt each other.
Yeah.
You have to be able to spar hard without hurting each other. And that's hard to do.
Yeah, and
because Khabib, we never hurt each other, and we'd spar hard all the time, but we weren't trying to hurt each other. There's a difference, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, I've seen gyms where I walk in there to visit, and you hear them in the locker room, I knocked out Chris yesterday.
Right.
Good. And I'm like seeing the Chris still there today in the sparring day, and I was like, bro, like you got a concussion if you got knocked out yesterday. Why are you guys laughing that you knocked each other out in practice? That's why I'd like to tell all these younger kids, younger generation, like you don't need to spar hard. You shouldn't be losing your brain cells in the gym. The game has changed. Even when I was younger, coming up, it was like, let's spar 10-minute round, just boxing. And I'm like, it toughened you up, right? But it was still stupid because like your chin has no, you never know when it's gonna go.
Yeah.
And your brain is the biggest thing in your body, because after fighting, you want to have a career. You want to be able to have a podcast and speak without stuttering or slurring your words. And a lot of the guys lose all that in the gym. A lot of these guys lose their talent in the gym. And you see it with other older fighters, right? Like Ferguson, where he was a killer. He was a Terminator. He would walk through everybody, but that was his style of getting hit and still walking through it. But now look at him as you end up on a 9-fight losing streak to end your career, and people forget about the greatness you used to do.
Yeah.
Because this game is unforgivable, right? Even Khabib said it. Everybody eventually loses. Yeah. Everybody eventually is going to lose. Everybody's eventually going to not be the best anymore. And he got out when he was on top. And
smart. That's like hard to do, to walk away right at the top. I think it was a smart move.
Yeah.
Because he'd had a couple quick finishes. Really, it's hard to stay on top. Even he might have even had a couple close fights where he would have won them, but then still people would be like, oh, you don't look as, as spectacular. I think it was really smart, really hard to do what he did.
Yeah.
So part of it because his dad dying and stuff, because he's so close to his dad. And now he's coaching. He's got lots of money, extreme superstar. He has a legacy.
Yeah. I mean, he's a different level of superstar, right? It's like when you see him, he can't even like leave or walk outside
America,
without.
I can't imagine in the Middle East and Russia, because in the U.S. he's a big star. Either.
Yeah, it's wild. But going on the other point, it's like when you look at John Jones, right? His legacy is so crazy great right now. Even now, people are, oh, you're afraid of Aspinall. It's like this guy's fought all the best fighters in the world.
No, he wants to get paid. It's so funny. So people are saying he's afraid of Aspinall. I'm like, are you guys insane? This is John Jones. He's not scared to step in the cage with anyone.
But
he might think Aspinall's a good fighter. He is a good fighter. And he thinks he's more dangerous, so he wants to get paid.
Yeah, and I was like, it's just wild, because if he does lose, right, then the people are like, oh, that's why he sucks. And then you forget about all the greatness. Even Khabib, when he retired, it was like, oh, he's afraid of Oliveira. And then Islam goes out there, beats Oliveira. Then it's like, it's just crazy. Like, but that's why you can't let the fans get to you. You can't let these people get to you. Because
also they want us to stand and punch and beat each other's head in. So guys like me and you, we're like trying to be technical. We're not trying to go, we want to win a fight without getting a bunch of brain damage, and the fans will get like mad. And it's like, I'm not trying to get brain damage when I fight. I'm trying to win the fight.
Yeah, if you want to watch just kickboxing, then go watch kickboxing, but nobody watches it. If you want to just watch that bare knuckle boxing, go watch bare knuckle. There's other spots you could watch. It's called mixed martial arts for a reason. And I think that.
And even on my feet, I'm trying not to get hit. I'm not going to trade punch or punch with you. I'm going to try to hit you and not get hit.
Yeah, that's the point. I'm not going to
stand there and be like, I mean, Mexican style, it's exciting, don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to keep my brains.
Yeah, but even those fighters, they don't last long. They never get to the top. They never get to the title fight, because every one of their fights is always 50-50. At our gym, even we have one of the best strikers that I've ever gone with. One of the best strikers I think in the world is Ignacio Balmondez. But our coach tell them you're gonna have to wrestle at least 4 times a week, because at the end of the day, you still need to know how to wrestle. He's been kickboxing since he was a kid. I've never seen anybody move or strike like him, but he has to wrestle. Like, our coach is forcing him to wrestle, because you have to learn it. That's the king in the sport is wrestling. Yeah, when you look at the champions, look at the guys.
Wrestling is the primary one. It's crazy, because you can decide if it goes up or down.
Yeah, and it's even like yesterday in the Shavkat fight. It was like him putting him on the fence, holding him there. If he didn't have wrestling, it would just be a kickboxing fight. And Ian was landing some good strikes, good kicks. But then, all right, well, he had to make the adjustments, pushing him on the fence, holding him down.
What do you think of that fight, by the way? What's your breakdown?
Of that fight?
Yeah.
For me, I was excited. I was just like, let me just get at least 20 minutes. If I got 4 rounds of it, I was happy with it, because anytime you get extra film, that's great.
Yeah.
Shavkat, when I was studying for the first fight, it was like, a lot of his fights were finishes, and a lot of the guys that he fought were kind of like afraid before they even got in there.
Some of the guys were already defeated.
Yeah, they were defeated before they got in there, and it was like, bro, you just quit? Did you just not even try? But I think because he had that aura about him. I think for Ian, since he trained with him and he worked with him, he said he made him look human.
He gets overpassed too. Like he's not a likable guy, but he's a good fighter, dude.
Yeah,
he can fight.
He figures out a way. He understands
He almost won that fight too. He almost had that choke. That was crazy.
Yeah, it's 3-2.
Not that good. You get on his back. I think he might. I think jiu-jitsu wise, look after seeing that, I'm like, you're a lot stronger jiu-jitsu. I think you'll become in the favor of that fight now, maybe.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they still had me the underdog, but I was like,
did they have you underdog in the betting odds?
Yeah. So I think they had him like 2-1.
Really?
Yeah. But for me, I'm like,
after who you fought and he fought, that's crazy.
I'm excited for it, right? Because
I love being the underdog.
I love being underdog. I love people doubting me. I love people because it makes me work that much harder. If I go out there, I
can't believe he's 2-1 of you after who you fought and he's fought. I guess
even now, my coach is like, erase that fight from your head because obviously you had the fight and everybody texting you like, oh, you're gonna kill him, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. But for me, it's like I always want to think of my opponent as the best version of himself, the killer. This guy's a monster.
He is a killer. He's definitely a killer. He has weaknesses, but he's a complete killer.
Yeah, so the people texting me like, oh, it's gonna do this. Yeah, I'm like, bro, it's like you've never been in a cage, you've never fought before.
I hate how people are like, oh, it's gonna be an easy fight. It's like, fuck you, bro. I'm getting locked in a cage with one of the best fighters in the world. And you're telling me it's gonna be an easy fight? Yeah. Why don't you do it, you fucking asshole?
Exactly. I just tell people, I was like, bro, people just don't understand, right? No. They don't even understand the fight week because you can have the best camp of your life, but anything can change on fight week. Something could go wrong. You could get hurt or you could get a cut the last week of camp.
Get a little sick.
We've seen it with the last pay-per-view with Weidman and Anders where it got to get canceled because he had food poisoning. But people don't even pay attention to those little things. I had fights where I was injured, but nobody knew it before the fight. So we go in there, we win, and then it's like you're thankful. But if like you lose, then it's like, oh, you're making excuses. You're injured. But training for a fight is the hardest thing in the world because the only way to train for a fight is to actually fight in the gym every single day. To work hard in the gym every day. So your body's getting beat up, broken down for 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah. And then you got to do it for 15 minutes against somebody that's just as strong as you, just as...
because we're not fighting regular people. We're fighting literally every fight. It's one of the best guys in the world. You know, you're fighting, anyone you're fighting is going to be now they're going to be in the top 5. Like literally the most savage men in the world you're getting in there. There's a lot of pressure too. It's a lot of times millions of people when you go in an audience and who knows, like 20,000 there live, millions watching at home, a lot of money on the line. The amount of pressure people have no clue like what we're dealing with.
Yeah, and just like the media, and then especially it's fight week, you're cutting weight. Bro, I don't want to have this camera in my face 24/7, and it's you have to just also promote the fight, right? Because you want people to watch, and then there's just so much that goes into it that people don't understand it, but they just expect you just to go with it. And then you see fighters where it does break them, right? The mental aspect of it does break it. We saw Anthony Smith yesterday crying, right? I mean, he lost his coach, and people don't understand how it is to have that in your head. When you have something else in your head, but you have a killer in front of you really trying to kill you, it's like, how could you fight like that?
Yeah, I had my dad die 2 weeks before a fight, and he was my manager. Wow. We were really close, and I should have pulled out of the fight, but like, you know how it is. I'm just like, I had to go forwards with it, but I was just a fucking mess. Went out there and then got knocked out right away because I was just like, and my mind was just, I was actually doing okay in the back. And then I started walking out and the fucking marketer started playing my dad on the fucking camera and shit. And I'm just like, I was like, fine, walking out. And then that goes on there and I started getting fucking all fucked up again. And it's just like, why the fuck did you put this video on when fucking going out there? And it's like, I get they're trying to like show, he's close to his dad, but he just fucked me up. So I'm walking out, went out there, could fucking just a mess in the cage, got fucking kneed in the face. It's just like,
that's
it's terrible.
Yeah, like it could be anything. Anything could switch. Like I fought Luque twice. The first time I fought him, he knocked me out. So the second time I fought him, I'm waiting there in the tunnel, and then they put the video of the knockout up there, and I'm just like, why are you guys posting before I walk out? Like, what do you got? It's just, even when I'm walking out, I see somebody in the audience, or I see somebody just like randomly, anything could just mess up your mind.
Things can throw your head off. It's weird. You want to get in that like flow state, but it's not as easy to do. There's been a few times you walk out, you're feeling a little weird.
Yeah, especially with the audience. It was way different fighting in the Apex because there's nobody in there.
Yeah, it's weird. There's no crowd. It throws you off. Like when I fought in Costa Rica, it was on the beach, this Bodog thing. It's like 15 fighters on the thing. I actually kind of liked it because it felt like a sparring session, but then you have to make sure you get your energy up, not like a sparring session. And then the most extreme when I fought GSP is like 60,000 people. You walk out and I go, whoa. Yeah. You don't realize like how much bigger that is than like the 20,000 seat arenas.
Yeah. And they're all freaking cheering for him. And
exactly. But I walk out and I go, well, GSP's going to have to deal with this too. For a second I started to freak out and I go, well, GSP's going to have to deal with this crowd too. So I got to go out there calm and get this on. Yeah, it's wild. How was did you have that like feeling it was like, I'm fighting GSP? Or was it one so at that moment? But because you were at the top of that moment too, but did he have that aura about him? He did, but I was in a really good win streak at that point. I think maybe the first round or two, I over-respect him a little bit because I won the last two, but then he won the first three, so I didn't get confidence till like, I think he started thinking like, I can beat this fucker. I better step it up, and started going after him. But then it was just like a little too late. He's good though, man. He's hard to hit, hard to take down. He's a damn good fighter. That's not an easy guy to beat.
That's always the funny part, right? Because you put like you said, you hit in your mind and your imagination, you're like, oh, he's gonna do this, and this, and then afterward, you're like, dang, I should have did it more. I could have did more.
Yeah, because I don't think I fought bad. I don't think I fought bad. I just think maybe a few small changes could have changed it up, and that's a life-changing fight. That's
yeah, and that's the wild thing. That's also, it's like for me, my first fight when I fought a name, it was Damian Maia. So it's kind of like starstruck, where
Savage,
you're like, dang, I'm fighting Damian Maia. Good. And then afterward, like you said, it's like, oh, I could have did.
And you handled him pretty good, right?
But
you beat him pretty bad. I was like, wow. That's when I realized, like, wow, this guy's good.
And that was one of mine where I was like, all right, now I belong with these guys, because I didn't fight no ranked guy before that. So he was like the first ranked guy to fight, and then it was like, all right, I belong up there with these top guys. He fought for the title twice, and then it was Wonder Boy was another one where I was like, oh crap, I'm going against Wonder Boy, and it's like the nicest guy in the world.
Those are two opposite fights, Wonder Boy and him, because Wonder Boy has like some of the best footwork, best stand-up, hardest guy to touch, and Maia has like the best grappling.
Yeah, and that's why I said for me, I think that's what helped me with my styles, because Maia, I'm not going to grapple or wrestle with Maia. I'm going to strike with him, and then Wonder Boy, I'm going to wrestle. I'm going to shoot on him right away. So those fights just made me make those adaptations.
Yeah, when I fought Maia, we were both trying to grapple. I'm like, I was a big underdog. That fight pissed me off too. And like, I was pissed off that I was an underdog. So I'm like, no, I got to beat this guy.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? It gives you that good chip.
Like, why are they making me an underdog? That really pissed me off.
Yeah, I never want to be that guy where it's like, where you look at it and it's, man, he's a 10-1 favorite right here. I was like, nah.
I hate it when you look at it and like I'm a 4-1 favorite or something. I'm like, oh shit, this sucks. So much pressure now.
Yeah. Did you feel pressure coming from a different like organization where you're like, obviously you're one of those that everybody was anticipating, like huge expectations for you coming from the.
I felt a little pressure, but a lot of hype. The first fight was tough because I moved up to 85s for a few fights because Nick Diaz was fighting at 170s and we're friends. So I moved up to 85s in Strikeforce. Plus, they had better fights. Like Lawler was up there, Henderson. So I had to cut back down to 70s, and I put some weight on. So the first fight in the UFC was brutal. The weight cut, I had to cut like 25 pounds last week. So I still won the fight, but I was a little gassed versus Marvin Campman.
Yeah.
Then, GSP. But it's like, you definitely feel a little pressure in your next patience. UFC is different, but Strikeforce at the time was massive. So it was like, that was the only show that was like close to, unfortunately, nothing like Bellator hasn't been, or Bellator PFL haven't been able to catch that same hype. I don't know why. But Strikeforce actually had the hype for a minute.
Yeah, I just don't think they don't promote enough, right? There'll be weeks where I'm like, wait, they're fighting this week. There's a PFL fight and the same day as this, and it's like, I feel like they're trying, but they need that one star that's going to go out there. They haven't
been able to build their own stars, and Strikeforce was like actually building stars, and they were bringing over they signed Fedor.
Yeah,
they stole Henderson from the UFC. I think the UFC bought him because they wanted to kill him.
Yeah, no.
Kind of brutal, which they actually just lost that. There was a lawsuit against the UFC for I don't know exactly what it was, for I guess a trust thing.
Yeah.
I guess they lost it. So I guess a lot of fighters in my generation are about to get paid out, supposedly. We'll see if the money actually comes. But like, okay, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting that, but I guess we won a bunch of money. They like $400 million or something.
Oh, wow.
Between the...
Did they tell you how much you'll get? Or
I think they said like, I don't know, $500,000 or something. But whatever, it's not money I'm expecting. So
yeah,
can't really say... well, who knows?
Bitcoin going up.
So it's nice if you get money you're not expecting.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So I didn't expect that lawsuit was going to win. I was surprised when someone told me it did. So.
Yeah, I felt like it would have gone longer, or just. I'm sure it was already how many years that it was going on for?
A year or two. Yeah. So fighters that don't know, if they fought between, I think it's 2010 and 17 or 19, they're entitled for some money. So they got to figure out how to contact the guy, and I can't remember the number right now, but they can get paid out on that.
Yeah,
they don't step up. I think they just give the money to me. So maybe I shouldn't be telling these guys to get that.
Right.
The extra money, I think, gets split between the other guys.
Really? Oh, and I wonder, like, because there's so many guys, right, that make it to the UFC. They get that one fight, they lose or something, and then like they're cut or they're gone. Those guys end up getting like a check for that.
I think if you did one fight, I think everyone that's been in the UFC in those years are going to get
just any fight.
It's based off of like how many fights you had and percentage of your purses. So like guys are going to get paid different amounts.
Okay. So when you were coming up, how hard was it to like get signed by an organization? Because like for me, you had to be like undefeated to even get a look from the UFC. You had to have a title from somebody else to even get talked about in the UFC. Were you only want to be UFC, or were you like, Strikeforce is good?
UFC actually offered to sign a bunch of times, but the money was like double, triple in Strikeforce.
Oh.
But it was kind of frustrating because everyone's like, oh, you think you'll ever make it to the UFC? And I was like turning down contracts all the time, but it's like I was making like triple the money.
Yeah.
So eventually I took the pay cut and went to the UFC because I wanted to fight GSP. But yes, the Strikeforce was paying better, which is why UFC bought them to kill him. That's why people like Dan Henderson were leaving. That's why people like Fedor were going to the Strikeforce.
Yeah.
So it sucks to have to take a pay cut to go to the premier organization.
Yeah.
But back in that time period, like Lorenzo sometimes would throw some nice bonuses around, and he took care of me after the GSP fight, which was nice.
Yeah, it's so funny that like obviously like for some of the casual fans, they only see UFC. Like my coach Lewis Taylor, he won the middleweight title for PFL, won $1 million. And
no one
people just don't even, like they don't even acknowledge it. It's like he's like, I was a middleweight champion for PFL, but did you fight UFC? And it's like, no, he made $1 million. And there's many guys that haven't even touched that money in the UFC, but he made that for them. And that's the thing that's gonna, if PFL does go under, it's gonna suck because there's a lot of guys that's huge for them, right? They get an opportunity to fight for $1 million. These guys that won't even, it'll be even hard to get signed by anybody else, but they have their chance every year, no matter what. And if they're in the season, they get a chance to fight for that $1 million. So if they just perform, it's crazy. What's that other kid, the 205-pound champion from there?
I don't remember who they got there.
Impa Kasangana. He was in the UFC at 170. He had that viral. He got knocked out by Buckley, and then he got cut after a couple more losses. Then he goes to PFL at 205 and wins $1 million.
It was crazy. A lot of guys, and like even I think everyone in the tournament's getting like at least like 50,000 and stuff. So a lot of the mid-level guys in PFL are making more than mid-level guys in the UFC. Now the champs in the UFC are usually the guys making more money. Plus, there's a lot of upside to being a champ in other ways with fame. Yeah. So if you're the champ, it's a lot better to be in the UFC. But if you're like a mid-level guy, it might be better to be in these other shows.
Yeah.
And that situation I was in for a while. I was making better money in other shows. And it was fighting good, I was fighting good opponents, like Lawlers, the Hendersons. The Strikeforce was signing great people at that time.
Yeah.
And they were like on CBS and stuff. So at that time, they actually had massive exposure as well.
Yeah, but people just assume, right, that you're not
respected the same. They're like,
it's the B leagues.
Yeah, but it's still annoying. Like, you think you can get to the UFC? And it's like, so finally, like, I guess I'll go to the UFC. Well, plus, I really wanted to fight GSP because he's like, in my opinion, the greatest welterweight of all time. So I wanted to get my shot at it.
Test yourself at that.
So it was like, that's you. Hopefully, I saw you said you're on track and you want to be that guy. And you have a damn good resume, man. A couple more big wins. It's going to start hard to deny it.
Yeah, and I think that's where people just, for myself, it's like, all right, we beat Shavkat. That's another undefeated person we take his O.
That's another huge win, yeah.
Yeah, and then now that Ian Gary's just lost, so it's like you're looking at who would be in the mix next. And, you got Kamaru Usman still.
You haven't fought him yet, right?
Walking around there. But he's on a 3-fight losing streak, so it's hard. So I think he'd have to get a win now.
Has Kobe won his last
Kobe's
fight?
fighting next week. He's lost.
Who's he fighting?
He's lost 3 in a row. He's fighting Buckley.
Damn, so there's not a lot of top guys that can right now. You're fighting the top guy.
Yeah, there's not a lot of guys right now that are up there. Sean Brady's looked good his last couple fights, but I already beat him. So, yeah, for myself.
A lot of the top guys, though. Gilbert Burns, he hasn't looked as good as last couple fights, but he's a savage.
Yeah.
That's another huge win you had. I was like, Gilbert's good.
Yeah.
I had a grappling match with him, beat him, but it was tough. And I'm like, wow, he beat that guy. He's good.
Yeah, and we took that fight on 3 weeks' notice. That was one of those where I was stuck in that limbo area where I was like, I deserve a title shot. I should be getting a title shot now, but I need one more, they're saying. So then they call you for a short notice. It was like during Ramadan. They were like 3 weeks. They
called you during Ramadan?
Yeah.
They know you do Ramadan, right?
Yeah, and I was like, they were like, 3 weeks notice, fight against Gilbert. I was like, no, it doesn't make any sense. Why would I do that? And they were like, if you win, you're going to get the title shot. And I was like, all right, well, now I got my clear path. So for me, I'm always training no matter what. Even during Ramadan, I'm training.
How do you train during Ramadan? Do you train at night or what do you do?
No, we train still in the morning. Like my body gets used to it probably by like day 3 or 4. Like,
aren't you just like, I get so hungry after I train?
Yeah, no food or drinking the rest of the day. Damn. So like at night when the sun sets, when we're able to drink, I treat it like a weight cut. So I'm drinking a lot of electrolytes. Before I would drink Pedialytes, and I'm just making sure I got to be smart with the carbs I'm putting in me. I got to put the slow burning carbs in me, the slow burning protein in me, so my body doesn't break down. And I just got to be smart. I got to listen to my body. If I'm getting there was moments where I'll get like dizzy or something, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna stop this round. But by day like 4 or 5, your body just adjusts. I think my faith is so strong, and I just believe in God that God will protect me no matter what, and I'm doing it for Him. So regardless, I just gotta had that in my mind, and I think it makes me stronger.
Yeah, no, it's I kind of respect that. I understand why people do Ramadan because I've done it just for a couple of days with my Muslim friends. I'm like, this is pretty hard. You know? Especially when you work out. It's like can't drink after and stuff. Like, wow, this is hard. You do this for like 30 days. This is respect. You know.
No,
but I think it's good for humans to push themselves like that. That's like, I think that's part of the reason why Islam still is stronger. It stayed a lot stronger than Christianity. I've noticed most of my Muslim friends are a lot stronger with the practice. A lot of them do, not all of them, but a lot of them do Ramadan. Sometimes at the gym, you'll stop by Ali's class. There'll be a prayer rug, guys praying in the corner. Like, sometimes people are freaked out. Like, what's going on here? There's like people praying in the corner, and like, but it's just like they take it real serious.
Yeah, but that's like for myself, even like the prayer aspect is one of the most powerful ones because it builds discipline. You know, you at this time, and this time, you know, you got to that's dedicated to God. That's His time, no matter what. And some people will be like, "Oh, I'll do it later," but that shouldn't be the case. And like you said, for most of the guys that I train with, Ali, they're strict with it all. And it makes you want to better yourself as a Muslim because you're seeing them doing this. And sometimes you slack a little bit on this. But for the most part, the prayers, I think, is the best thing because it clears your head. Like you have those 10, 15 minutes where you're not thinking about nothing and you're just giving that time to God. And it just makes you, afterward, just feel refreshed. Because throughout your day, you have so much stresses going on in your life. You're worried about this, you're worried about that. And a lot of people get so many distractions. But when you got people that meditate or do yoga, like those are the most calm people in the world. And the kind of prayers for us it's our meditation. It's our yoga. It's our time where nothing else matters but God. And I think that's why a lot of the time for the most Muslims, they're kind of like the most calm people in the world, right? They don't have a lot of temper tantrums or anything like that because we understand what our thing is. For us, as a Muslim, you're considered a slave of God. Like it should be getting the message out there of what Islam is, how Islam is, and showing when you are at the gym and you know you're stopping what you're doing, you're going to pray. It's showing these people like, oh wait, look how dedicated he is to God. Look what he's doing for God. Because we're alive for that reason.
Yeah, because there'll be guys that are praying right before they come in, put the gloves on, they'll beat the hell out of each other. But I respect that. It's like it's interesting to see, and I think you say it's good. They motivate you to be better. I think that goes to all aspects for life. Even if you're not religious, the people you surround yourself with is gonna make a big difference. You know, if you're around people that are going out doing drugs, womanizing every night, you're gonna fall into that same pattern. If your friends are out trying to do big business, do better, you know, get their life better, you're going to fall into that same pattern. So it's kind of like important to watch who you surround yourself with.
Exactly. And being as a fighter, that's where you need to be the most disciplined because our window's so small. And if you're going out partying, you're doing this, you're doing that, then you think you're going to go to the gym, you're not going to get the same results as you were. And that's what separates these guys when they become champions, like Khabib and them, like they don't have that fall off period because a lot of
guys get famous and all of a sudden they're out. Girls are throwing themselves at them. Everywhere they go, everyone's offering them drugs, alcohol, free bottles. You've seen it happen to a lot of fighters, not name names, but personal friends of mine. I've seen it happen to. They get sucked into this, you know, especially if these guys had never partied before and they're like, oh, this is fun. I can just go out everywhere I go. There's girls all over and this. It's so easy to fall into and you can understand why, but it's not the good long-term move.
Exactly. It's being an athlete. People see you, oh, you're a UFC champion? Then everybody wants to come to you. Everybody wants to be your friend. But that's why for me, I like to keep my circle small. And like my coaches, my family, they all... Even after my fights, it's like, oh, where's the after party at? I was like, yeah, we're going to eat with my family. We're going to go.
Yeah, surprised. I don't. We're doing this interview at 9 in the morning on a Sunday after UFC. After you'd be going out, you hit me at 9 in the morning. I'm like, well, I guess I'm not going out with my friends. I was thinking about Nate was hitting me up. I'm like, you know, I'm be responsible. I don't need to go out drinking. So
yeah, that was my other boy, Mike Cannon. He was like, on Friday, he was like, are we training in the morning or could I go out tonight? I was like, bro, we're training in the morning.
Yeah, right.
And then I ended up waking up and he still went out the night before. He's like, bro, I got to go eat breakfast with my sister. I'm like, bro, you're probably hungover right now. But that's the thing where I have this guy. So I go train with.
No, I was really surprised that you saw that it was 9 a.m. Like 9 a.m. All right, a fighter at 9 a.m. on a Sunday. But actually, I was super busy day to day, so it's actually better I didn't go out.
Yeah, for me, I was like, I'd rather get it over with now, especially football season's on right now. So I love watching football, love watching other sports. But yeah, I like to get my day started. I like to make every day worth something, right? I like to do something every day. Even with training, I think a lot of fighters, they'll go to practices just to say they went to a practice. But like they don't gain nothing out of practice. They don't get better out of these practices. They'll just say, oh, I sweated today or I did this today. And it's like,
it's not enough. You have to have a purpose.
Yeah, you're not. I'm like, but are you getting better? A lot of these guys, they're still the same fighter they were 10 years ago.
No, it's so true. Some guys don't prove. You have to always be, I don't know how you do it, but like there's different ways, but I'm like sometimes working a certain thing that day or a week or there's you're always trying to improve something, right? Is that kind of how you go in there with a mindset?
Yeah. Every week I'm like, all right, well, let's try to get better here. Or even after a win of a fight, I'm like, what do we do wrong? We got caught here. Let's get better in this area. And I think even watching fights, I'm like, oh, this worked for this guy. Let me try to put this in my repertoire. But so many of these guys, it's just like, let's just go into the gym and spar. Let's go to the gym and wrestle. And it's like, you're not drilling. You're not doing this. You're just going full force.
Right.
And you're not getting any better.
It'll make you tough, but it's not going to improve you. Well, even now, I'm retired, and I still try to improve stuff. I'm a martial artist. I love learning and trying new things. I'm always like, what if I try this? Or I try to choke this way? I'm always troubleshooting stuff. I think now that I'm on the coaching side, I've actually gotten more technical. Like, you got to think about more, okay, what can I do? How could I do this? Why does this work?
That's why I love coach, because I coach at our gym 2 days a week.
It helps a lot. I was coaching someone I was fighting too. I think it helps a lot. Makes you better.
Being in their corner, being with them, it's like, it opens your eyes to other things. Because if I'm going to show you it, I got to really understand the real details.
Yeah, because a lot of times athletes, we're just doing things, we don't understand what we're doing. Sometimes I'll show something, I'm not doing it right, and I'll be like, I have to go back and rethink what I obviously left out an important detail.
Yeah, exactly. I'll show a move or some things that work for me, and then they'll be like, why did you put your head this way? And I was like,
didn't even realize you did it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I won't even realize I did it, and I'll just be like, oh, I just work it like this, but try it, see if it fits your body, because like every fighter has a different body type.
Yeah, good coaches realize that too. You can't teach everyone exactly the same. You have to adjust to the body.
Yeah, I think that's the issue with like the bigger gyms too. It's like those bigger gyms, you're not getting that one-on-one time with your coach, your personal coach, where he's looking at you like, we need to fix this. It's like, at the bigger gym, this guy just fought. He just won. Let me get that check. All right, we'll see you later. Let me know next time you get a fight. And then when you're in camp, you're not really learning new things because it's just geared toward your fight.
Yeah, exactly. So some guys, you have to train year round because you learn off the camps, like you just said. Because camp time, you're cutting weight, you're hard sparring, you're running. You learn between the camps.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these guys,
you're a great fighter.
They'll take off. These guys will take off or go on vacation for 3 weeks, and then they won't come to the gym until they have a camp. And it's like,
you know who I hate? The guys who you help train for a fight and then they disappear when you're asking for help. Those guys are dead to me. It's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, bro. It's like, for me, I want my partner to win so bad that I'm like, I'm watching tape, I'm helping him, like, and then it'd be like my fight, and it'd be like,
no, I heard that happen. I'm just like multiple times, and it's like, fuck this guy. Luckily, I had my primary crew with Nick, Nate, and Gil would always be there. I had so many other guys that helped train for a fight, put so much time and effort and work into helping them, corner them, and then I needed like, oh, I'm not training right now. I mean, you're not training right now. I need some sparring.
Yeah, you're not hurt.
Come and do one round off if you can't do 3 rounds or 5 rounds, whatever,
Yeah, I got lucky now with the gym I have now. It's kind of like you said, with your Nate and Nick.
Guys will show up.
Yeah, I have a small core where I know that no matter what. And a lot of the guys that I train with now aren't even like real fighters anymore. They're just they've been with me since the beginning, so they'll just come in whenever I have a fight.
Like brotherly love.
They're gonna help me no matter what. Like my boy Mike Hannon, he's a firefighter, but whenever I have a camp, all right, I'm gonna come help you. And Horacio and Max, they're both they used to be fighters, now they do other stuff. But whenever I have a camp, all right, they're in my corner. So like the guys that are even in my corner now, obviously I have my head coach Mike Valle.
Yeah, who's your head coach, by the way?
Mike Valle. So he's he doesn't get the credit he deserves at our gym. We're a small gym in Chicago, but we got 2 champions. We got me and Juliana Pena.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. I'd never heard of the guy. He deserved 2 champs out of a small gym like that. That's really impressive.
Exactly. Nobody's even talking about it or thinking about it.
What's his name one more time?
Mike Valle.
I'm gonna look him up. Yeah. I really need to come by your gym next time in Chicago.
Yeah,
How far out of downtown is it? Like an hour or something?
It's about like 30, 40 minutes from downtown.
I really need to stop by.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Especially having you there. It's like
around. I can always fuck around, do a guest class or something.
Yeah, that'd be great. Like when he came up, he was training under Greg Jackson, and he was under them. But then now he opened up his own gym in Chicago, like small gym. But Yair Rodriguez, he won the belt with Yair. He won the belt with Juliana. He won it twice.
Right.
Yeah, and he has a great mind for it. And I think that's what I love about him. Is like there's no egos. Even with him, he's a great striking coach, but he'll bring a wrestling coach in and be like, he's not telling me that he knows everything. There's coaches out there be like, you got to do this, this, and this the way I'm telling you. But he understands, no, I got to get a grappling coach. I got to get a good wrestling coach because grappling and wrestling are the keys. Like I said, his striking is so good. His footwork is so good, but he knows what wins fights.
Exactly.
What's the keys to this? You need this.
And good coaches understand you have to add your own creativity. You can't make you a carbon copy of him.
Exactly. And I think that's where a lot of these older generation coaches are with it, right? They want to just show everybody these same moves. And if you go to another gym, you're betraying me.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like,
but
no.
There's stuff to learn from everyone. That's what I was always like, having your primary coaches, but you got to learn around from everyone because there's so much. Martial arts is never ending. The knowledge is endless. So no one person knows all the knowledge.
It's such a, young sport that something new is coming out every other week, right? Even when I look at these fights, watch these fights, I'm like, whoa, that works now. This works now. The calf kick just got started.
When I was fighting, that wasn't an issue. Now it's like the main thing. There was just starting to be a few people doing calf kicks when I fight it. Now it's like the primary kick. So I never even had to deal with calf kicks.
Yeah,
so
right.
the jab, because they calf kick off the jab now. That's something I never even have to deal with. How crazy is that?
Yeah, right.
And now you have to always think about the calf kick with the jab.
And it's going to be the new thing, right? And it's like, you got to be creative. And the only way to be creative is to have that coach that lets you open up your mind, or even have those practices where it's more flow instead of rough. It's more flow. Like let's touch spar.
I used to always go hard, and I realized like how important it was just to some days touch spar and even grappling flow. And I used to always look for the tough rounds, and then I actually got a lot better when I started teaching because my students weren't that good. So then you would tap them all the time. And then
exactly.
When I was out training with John Donaher for a while, he would a lot of times the best guys, the Gordon Ryans, Garrett Tonins would always be going at it all together, and John would be like, hey, you guys train with each other too much. Just like spread out and train with other guys that aren't as good. And some of the guys that aren't as good still might be black belts, but you know how there's like levels to this stuff.
Yeah.
So you guys are, he was telling us like train at least half of your rounds with guys that you can beat easily. So you can like play, because we were training twice a day too. It's like if you guys are just bashing with each other all the time. But then occasionally there'd be days you'd bring in private gym when it was just like the best guys, and then we would just go at it, just grind out like for 45 minutes, just be exhausted. But it was like, I think his strategy made a lot of sense of like a lot of the rounds should just be playing around, trying stuff, not that hard.
Yeah, because it opens up your mind. You tried new things, because a lot of time when you are going against somebody good, it's like you're careful. You're just like,
exactly.
Let me do what I'm best
only
at.
Your best moves.
Yeah.
Only your best stuff. You're not doing like new playing around.
So you're not working out, and you're just showing it. And then you get to the point where I've rolled with you so many times that I know exactly what you're going to do next. I know exactly what your go-to move is here. So then it just like, it's a stalemate between both you and your like closest training partner. And like you said, going with like those guys that aren't as good, it's like, all right, let me jump guard, let me play guard,
and try and get good in these missions. So I think it's so important to not just chase the best rounds.
Yeah, and that's why even like starting to train with when I first started with Habib and them, I was always a guy that would like play off his back, flow roll off his back, and he's like, "What are you doing? You got to get up." Even in those rounds,
I think it's good to have those super competitive rounds too. I think it's good to do both. You want those days where you're going at it, but you want to play. Like Gordon Ryan's a perfect example. People don't know he's the best jiu-jitsu grappler probably ever.
Yeah.
But he'll go in there, he's giving people arm bars, letting them take mount, including good people. And like a lot of times too, maybe I would train with some guy, I would tap him out 5 or 6 times, and the guy would be like, "Oh man, you're a mess." I trained with Gordon, he only got me once. I'm just thinking like, Gordon got you once because that's the only one you get. You don't know how good this guy is. Gordon's better than me, so if he only got you once, that's because he wanted to get you once.
Yeah, and I think you just got to get rid of the ego, right?
Gordon's so great. He'll let people put him in their best submissions.
Yeah.
And I've seen him get tapped doing that a few times, but then he figures out their submissions and he's getting out. So let great guys put him in his very best submissions, and then he's actually the one winning because he's figuring out their best move. And then all of a sudden he puts him in and gets out, puts him in and get out, puts him in and get out. And I'm like, wow, he's just like, that guy thought he won by getting the tap out, but Gordon just totally stole the guy's, and now he knows exactly how to get out of his move.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. And watching him do that, like, oh, this guy is brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. And I think putting yourself in those bad positions, because you never know when it'll happen in a fight. You never know if it'll, but so many guys want to be I only want to practice my good stuff. I only want to practice this, when you should be practicing the worst case scenario, no matter what. Worst case scenario, this. And like you said, you get comfortable in that spot. Like Shafkat, if he's never been in a rear naked choke spot before, maybe he would have tapped, out of just like fear yesterday. But he's obviously been there so many times training that he's like, all right, let's get out of here. Let's be smart.
Yourself in the bad positions.
Yeah, that the one who fought Pantoja, Kai, it's like Pantoja's best move is the rear naked choke. Like you should have.
Rear naked was clean.
Yeah, but you should have made it to where I can't give up my back at all.
When I fought Maya, you probably too. I spent so much time not letting him get on my back.
Well,
once he locks that body triangle, you're not getting out.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, if I have to pull guard, I'm going to do that.
Not letting him get on your back.
I did the back take so many times for that one where I was like, no matter what.
He's not getting my back.
He can't get to my back.
One point he went to my back, and I think I did like a roll right through it. And I didn't get my back, a grand beat or something. Like, no, this guy ain't getting my back.
Yeah, I watched your fight against him so many times. And then even I got your BJ de Fanatics just to see.
Yeah.
But when I fought him, it was so... I had to make it seem like it was like lava. I can't let... He's going to burn me. He's going to kill me if he gets my back. And I think a lot of these guys need to have that more mindset. Like you're going against Pantoja. Anytime he gets on his back, he breaks him. He gets him there. You're stuck there for the rest of the time. So for Kai to make that mistake, it's like, bro, you shouldn't even been there.
Yeah, I think for my camps, I go in there and I want to impose my will, but you also have to look at each opponent and come up with a strategy. And a lot of fighters aren't doing that. You mentioned you're already doing that. So you break down, you and your coach sit down and put down on game plans of how you're going to train and how you're going to run your camps.
Yeah. So
does he run your camps or you do it together? You kind of co-figure out?
Yeah, me and my coach will go together.
You have a part on it too.
Yeah, because I want to tell him
we're too high of a level where we can't just hand over complete control to someone, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been in the game so long and I understand it.
Yeah, we understand it so
well. And cornering somebody, other fighters, they like open my mind a little bit more. So we'll talk about it. He'll give me his thoughts of what he thinks. I'll give him my thoughts of what I think. And like we'll just look at what are their patterns, what do they normally do? How do they fight this guy? Have they fought anybody like me before? So we go that route, and then once we got our game plan, once we got it, a lot of our drilling is geared toward that. So like our morning practices, we'll do a specific thing, and it'll be a harder practice. Then at night, it'll just be strategy. Okay. So we're just doing nothing but strategy at that night of what I want to do for the fight. And even if we have to do it 1,000,000 times, we're gonna do it 1,000,000 times. I was so bored of doing
a lot of people won't do that drill over and over. That's what a lot of people are missing.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys, it's boring, right? Nobody wants to
come in and spar, and
nobody wants to warm up. Nobody wants to. They want to just let's go.
But that's what separates the champions from the not. That's why you're the champion.
Yeah, and when people come train with me, they like I'll have so many other fighters. Like, hey, can I come to your gym? Like your gym keeps winning. What's going on over there? And they'll come. Like they'll be excited because they're like, oh, I want to do this more. Like at our gym, all we do is hard spar. Like I get beat up before. I'm beat up by the time I get into the fight that I'm just like happy to be done with camp. And for me, it's like I get excited when it's fight time. I get it to the point where it's like now I get to see if what we were doing the whole time works. And now I get to see if my strategy is better than your strategy.
Yeah. Do you enjoy the training?
Yeah, I love training.
Yeah, for the most part, obviously. There's days I'm sure you're burnt out and don't. But for the most part, I love the training too. There's days where I'm like, oh my God, I'm beat up. My body's sore. I don't.
But like when I'm in the gym, it's like my happy place, right? It's like when I get in there, nothing else matters. Even when I was sitting here, couldn't do nothing for 6 weeks. And I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, I need the gym right now. I need to do this.
It's hard for me when I've like hurt, can't train. I start going crazy. I need to go and train. It's the release, the let go, the camaraderie, the brotherhood. Like,
exactly, the brotherhood.
We have a huge brotherhood around the world. Like we don't even know each other that well, but we're like friends.
Yeah.
You know? Like it's just like all these fighters have to come in. A lot of these guys want to know well. They're like, yeah, cool, I'll come do your podcast. Some of these guys turning down paid podcasts. Like, oh, I'll come do yours. It's
yeah,
just like
100%.
the brotherhood of like that we built over fighting because we've done the same stuff together. It's like we know anyone that's gone through this must be a little bit crazy.
Yeah, right. But we know what it is. You know what I'm saying when I say this or when I say that.
It's like a different world. But it's how many days a week are you sparring?
So I do like one hard day. Then for the most part, I do like 2 or 3 just like light where we're just more so just getting like distance right, angles, playing with new other things that I want to do. But we only have one hard day.
Your light is probably harder than a lot of people think when you say light. You mean like, what do you mean by say light? Because I bet
no, for the most part, we're just
light's probably not actually that light compared to what normal people would think.
Yeah, but it's not to the point where we're not trying to kill each other, right?
Yeah.
Even in the hard sparring, we're not trying to kill each other. But for the light sparring, it's basically just like how I would want to warm up in the back room before the fight.
So movement, touching, drilling.
Yeah, touching more so touching, just feeling.
I've done a lot of that. Mostly did. I wish I'd done a lot more of that when I was coming out because I did a lot of hard sparring, but didn't do a lot of that play sparring. But that shit makes you good.
It makes you so good, and it makes you faster. It makes you elusive, but you need the right training partner, right? Because there's so many guys where you're like, hey, let's light spar, and they're like trying to kill you. You're like, I'm not going to.
It's almost impossible to do light sparring. I always try with Gil Melendez, one of my best friends, but he would just always punch me right away, and then he would always blame it on me. I'd blame it on him. We'd always just start fighting right away.
Yeah,
I still say it was him, but he'll tell you it was me. It was just we would just start fighting every time.
Yeah, that's
one of my best friends, but for some reason we go there and we just start fighting. It's like I don't know what it is.
When Paul Felder, whenever we used to train with him, like. Bro, he would just see red in sparring, and it was just like
I swear it's Gil, bro. He says me, but he just fucking pops me right away.
I'll hit him, and then I was like, for me, I'm just like I said, I'm having fun in the gym. So like, if I like faint and then touch his leg, he'll like sprawl hard, and I'll just like laugh, and he'll get up and he'll just start going super hard with me, and I was just like, bro, chill, bro, I'm still your boy.
It's like Gil. He'll run me off the mat. We were in a ring. He'll crawl out the ring, Japanese style, like cheating. I'm like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, but those other guys.
One of my best friends, when we're not training together.
It's always funny because somebody new comes to the gym and they'll be sparring. They'll be like, oh, go with Paul.
Yeah, right.
You have a fun round with him. You always knew it was going to be a fight.
Yeah, there's some guys that are like that.
Yeah, but like for me now, I learned that like having that perfect training partner. Like my guy now that I train with, Ignacio, like no matter who it is, I don't need to bring in somebody new because he'll make the adjustments. If I'm fighting southpaw, he'll go southpaw. If he's fighting, if I'm fighting, orthodox,
he'll imitate the fighters.
He'll do it. Even
it's
like
hard imitating other fighters. It's that's a skill.
But you learn so much too doing it, right? Because I'm watching tape and I want to be like this guy for him.
So you learn new.
So I learn new things, and that's the thing about a small gym is where all of us have to do that, make the sacrifices for our training partners. And it just makes us get better because I'm watching tape on his guy and then I'm picking up some things. I'm not a southpaw, but I learned southpaw just by doing that for my coach or doing that for Ignacio, playing that fight game for him.
No, it's important to be able to fight it just in case, maybe the guy don't react good with it or you hurt your calf. Especially nowadays, all these calf kicks, it's like...
And then you see guys that...
I'm terrible at going southpaw. I wish I'd learned it more.
You can't panic because if you had that look in your eye where the leg kicks are hurting you,
exactly.
And you can't switch stances, then you start panicking. You're like, oh, crap.
You see that happen in fights. Guys get hurt and they try to switch and they can't fight switch and they go back and it's like, oh, this guy's in trouble.
Exactly. And then these guys, when you are able to switch, you are able to play that game, it gives you that advantage because they're like, wait, what is he doing? For me, I do so much movement, I do so much elusiveness that it opens up my takedown so much. Because I'm hitting you, then you're like, oh, is he striking with me? And then I shoot on you, then you're like, what the heck? Then I feint on a shot on you. You're like, oh, is he only going to wrestle? Then I hit you, and you're like,
and that's what you were doing with Leon Edwards.
Yeah,
you were doing that so well because you were lighting him up and like you mix it so well. Because I think that's why guys look at you and they're like, oh, he's not the best kickboxer in the world. He's not the best wrestler in the world. He's not the best jiu-jitsu guy in the world. But you're really good at all, and you mix them and blend them, and your cardio is great. That's why it's like you're not an easy guy to beat right now.
Yeah, and then
I was shocked if you're underdog in the fight, but
yeah, when it comes to IQ, I think I had one of the best ones in the game.
High
and
IQ,
I know when in between rounds, if I have to make the adjustment. And even when you look at my coaches in between rounds, there's coaches that have to be like, for us, it's more chill. Let's just chill. All right, what do we see? All right, we got to do this. Oh, we got to do more of this. All right, we'll do that. But that's just having the people that are with you from the start, right? The guys that have been with you forever.
People that actually care and love you, not the guys that when you get famous, they jump in trying to weasel their way in. You get a lot of those people come out of the woodworks. Everyone trying to be your coach, jump on camera.
You should do this, this, and this. Yeah. Hey,
you have a million coaches when you're on top.
Yeah, right? Everybody wants to be there or act like they've been with you from the start. And that's
I'm his coach.
My guys, I've been with them for 10, 15 years, right? Every single one of them.
Loyalty is so important.
Yeah.
And some of these guys, they lose one fight and they change gyms every time they lose a fight. It's like, maybe it was your fault. Maybe it wasn't your coach's fault.
And that's the thing, right? You got somebody, they're always looking for that excuse. Or even when they win, they're like, oh, it's because I did this. It's like Tony Ferguson. Oh, well, I haven't sparred that last camp. Then this next camp. Oh, I started sparring again after 10. You still got killed. It's like, no, it's you. You're doing that. Or like you said, some fighters will, I left this gym because it's because of my coach. It's like, no, at the end of the day, you're the one getting in the cage. At the end of the day, like you said, where I got to work my own strategy for the fight, what I want to do. It's whether my coach is wrong or not.
You can't just rely on your coach. You have to be the one making the ultimate decision.
Because you're the one in the cage, regardless. You're the one in there. He didn't tell you not to jog.
When I'm corner guys, I say, I'll give you advice, but you have to make the decision. If you don't feel like the advice I'm telling you is going to work, obviously listen to yourself, not me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because if you're telling me
calling off and I'm just not feeling what they're calling off, right? If you had to have the coach calling something, and you're just not feeling the punch or the takedown they're calling. You're not seeing the timing they're seeing.
Yeah,
you're the one in the cage. It's like
exactly. My other coach, Lewis. For one of his fights coming up, he was just like, after the first round, he said he was tired, and then the coach that was in his corner was telling him to shoot in the second round.
That's because there's a lot of energy.
But he's like, and he wasn't shooting, and he just kept shooting, and he's like, after the fight, he's like, bro, stop yelling it. If you see me not doing it, it's because I don't want to do it. I'm tired.
Waste it,
I'm not gonna shoot. So stop yelling it. Like I heard you, and like that's the thing too. If you're in the cage and who was it? Mike Perry, he said it before, where the coach is telling him to like hit, and he's like, bro, I'm getting punched in the face. You come and do something, right? Because you get that feeling. You're yelling the same thing over and over again.
It looks so much easier than it is. There's so many things going on. You might hurt, fatigue. So it's so easy people on the outside to be like, why are you doing this? Why is he doing that? It's like, you get in there and do it.
Exactly. So like, that's the thing about my team is like, we'll put a couple stuff out there, and then for the most part, we're quiet. We're not yelling a lot in the corner.
You don't need to give that much advice.
Yeah, if it's there, it's there
for moral support.
Let me hear it. Okay.
The people you're comfortable around make you a lot more comfortable because they're not doing much fight night.
Yeah.
You've already done the training. They might give you some advice, but for the most part, it's just for
they're more important for like fight week, right? To get the mood right, to chill.
Yeah, and you want to be relaxed. The people you're with.
Yeah.
I don't know how you are, but I like to be nice and chill, having fun.
Exactly.
Right until I'm ready to warm up.
Yeah, I want to just be all fight. I don't want to have the stresses or the.
I don't want to be like stressed out. I don't want guys all hyped up around me the whole time.
Yeah, I don't need that. When I first started,
it too, but then I learned I don't want people hyped around me. I want to be like mellow, chill till right before fight time.
Yeah, I was like, should I see this guy warming up and he's like cursing, hitting the wall and stuff. I'm like, let me try doing that. And then my coach is like, he said, bro, you're calm. That's your weapon. Like, keep the calmness. You don't need to get hype yourself up because like you're at your best when you're calm. That's not your personality. So you don't have to go hit the wall or kick the wall. And I'm just like, you're right. So now for me, I like to be just chill.
Yeah. And there are some guys that probably fight better angry. So
yeah.
Yeah. So let's switch up real quick before we wrap up to a couple feuds, something fun.
Yeah.
Like two of them I got in my mind. Conor McGregor, a little while ago, I said your video of him talking shit. I think you already responded to that. But then last night he was talking shit to you again. Like, what do you think of that? The first one he was coked out of his mind, probably last night too.
Yeah, bro, he's definitely coked out of his mind last night, right? It's
right. It's like
when you're looking at him and how far he's fallen off. You know, you lost all your. What did he lose? He lost Proper 12. That was his baby, right? He lost this. It's like, think about your future, how your kids are going to look at you. Now you're a convicted rapist. You just lost that, and.
I think it was a lawsuit. I don't think it was
a lawsuit, yeah.
But still.
Yeah, but it's like you're showing yourself. You're showing these people. When you were talking about the next generation, so many people look up to you, and they see you as this star and put you on this pedestal, and you're showing this side of yourself. It's like, it's kind of pathetic. And even now, as a fighter, he always wants to just put his name in the mix whenever there's a big fight.
Yeah, well, I think he keeps attacking you. Just try to put his name in the mix.
Yeah, right? Because he wants people like.
There's no way he'll come in and fight you.
No, he would never fight. But it's anytime there's a big fight. When Holloway and Topuria fought, he wants to put his name in the mix. When these guys fought, he wants to put it. It's just because I think that he's starting to feel like you have all the money in the world, right? But he wants that stardom. He wants that.
He's losing it.
He's losing it. Nobody's starting to care about him.
No fighters respect him anymore.
Yeah,
guys. He just doesn't have my respect. Like.
Yeah. So now I think that he wants that so bad. Like you know how they say money doesn't buy you happiness, right? I don't think he's happy. No, you can just tell he's not happy. He's that guy now that's like, it's embarrassing to think that he built up the sport, right? He built it up to another level. And
he helped the sport, so I won't deny that. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you look at it now, it's like now you're bringing it down. Now you're the stereotype for what people think fighters are. You're just drunks. You're addicts. You're this. You're that, and you have young kids. You should be looking at yourself in the mirror and thinking, like, I got to make changes. You got to go to rehab, bro. It's
actually kind of sad, because like the guy did so much, and it's what was the first video he talked crap about you? What did he say? I can't remember. But he looked just so coked out. I remember I sent you. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah,
he just looked coked out of his mind. I'm like, look at this guy.
Yeah, for me, I'm just like, I don't really care. Like I'll go back and forth with him all day.
No, if he wants to fight you, that's great, but I don't think he will.
Yeah, he would never.
You'd make a huge payday if he fights you. But I really don't think he'd have the balls to step in and fight you.
He would never, and it would be the thing. I think that's why he just wants to put those tweets out there to act like he would, because he's still going to have those trolls or those fans.
I'm the champ, why don't you step in and jump in the line? Or why don't you fight after I win this fight?
Yeah, right?
He'll go silent real quick.
He won't say nothing, but he's just going to keep trying to keep that popularity in the fight game, because nobody knows him now. Though now they're only going to know him by this rape case. They're only going to know him by the stuff he's done wrong. So he's trying to think of what he needs to do to get back into the fighter's eyes, and that's getting in the cage. But like, he's not gonna happen, because you have to train to get in the cage. You can't be freaking partying every day, and he doesn't have that hunger no more. He doesn't have that no more.
He lost it. And even though I've never liked Conor, I hope he gets his act together, and I would like to see him come back. I would like to see him come back and fight Nate again, even though we got into each other. We almost got in a fight, and during that press conference, and after, I saw him at a club after, so I almost fought the guy a couple times. But it's like, he still made Nate a lot of money, and I would like to see him get sober again and do better. Yeah, and that's a trilogy on the table, right? Yeah. That's the fight that see. Would want to see. That'd be a massive money fight. They're both towards the towards the end of their career. That'd be a huge money fight for both of them. It's like, it'd be great to see, right? Yeah, I mean, if Nate freaking knocks him out, that'd be great to see. To see him get beat up again. I think he'd beat him up again. Seeing Dustin Poirier break him and fold him like that was like the best feeling in the world. The Khabib fight was great, because that's what blew Khabib up, and it was, remember they got the brawl afterwards. Yeah, and that showed me how out of touch the journalists were, because after he jumped over and kneed the guy in the face, and I went on Twitter, the journalists, analysts, everyone was freaking out saying it ruined Khabib's career, and I'm like, oh, I guess maybe I'm out of touch. Then I went out the next day, like coffee shops, the guys were like, hey, did you see that Russian guy last night? He's everywhere I went, everyone was just hyped on Khabib, and they didn't know who he was before. I'm like, these journalists are a bunch of dorks. They're literally stupid, but that's the kind of fight you need to put you up to that level, right? Even
that's why I love those fights where there is trash talk.
No, because he helped Khabib, he helped Nate, because he had such a mega star.
Yeah.
Maybe he had more stardom than he deserved, but
somebody that knows how to talk, to build a fight. Even with the Leon fight, after he beat Kobe, I was like, let's do a face-off, and he was acting like brushing it off, like he didn't know who I was or he doesn't deserve this. I'm like, bro, you got to build up the next fight. There's a thing called promotion. Like, you're getting pay-per-view numbers now, so do you not want to sell pay-per-views? He's an idiot, and that's why when you see fighters that aren't trying to promote or just trying to be quiet or not be on social media, I'm like, you're not going to make any money because there's a fight this week and then next week there's another one. There's another one. Yeah. So they're forgetting about you unless you stay in their eye, stay doing interviews, stay doing, on social media, promoting yourself. Because if you're not promoting yourself, why would the UFC want to waste their time promoting you?
Yeah, no, I did like zero promo. I wasn't on Twitter when I was fighting, and I totally regret that. Now, I talk shit on Twitter, podcast, do more stuff, and it makes a huge difference. Guys like Chael Sonnen got that. Like, you got to put yourself out there.
You're bigger now than you were anyway.
I was only focusing,
as a champion of the world.
I was only focusing on just, all I want to do is train and fight. I got obsessed with that. I didn't even think about the back end. So these fighters really need to think about all aspects,
Yeah, I tell these younger guys now, start building up your social media now because you could
do your own YouTube and do a Twitter. You could even if you only do it occasionally, if you do like one podcast a month, you start building it so you have a thing.
And you'll get better at doing interviews. Like
exactly.
A lot of these guys, they're afraid to do interviews. Or I don't want to do this interview. I'm like, bro, you got to get better at them because when you do make it to this level, you have to.
It does suck. A lot of the journalists are so annoying. They ask the same questions or these corny ass dork are you an Ariel Helwani cool or
no?
He probably don't like you because your heritage.
100%. And then I'll say that from the beginning because I was like, he's never invited me on his podcast.
He's never invited you on.
He's never invited me on. And then now then I signed with Ali, and he was like, "Oh, it's because Ali's not letting him come on." I was like, "You never invited me on beforehand." My coach Lewis Taylor won the PFL belt at 42 years old, and you never invited him on because he's with me. And I was like, "That's a huge story. That should have been something that was on a big podcast, right?" But you didn't talk about him. You didn't mention him. Even when I beat Leon, it was like he didn't mention it. Oh well, yeah, Belal did a good job. He won. It was like you didn't give it any type of hype.
No.
But for me, like I said, I don't care. I don't have no hate for nobody, right? You can say whatever you want to say. He's the one who brought it up last time. He's like, "Oh, he doesn't want to come on a podcast probably because of Palestine, Israel." I'm like, no,
you have tons of Jewish friends. I do too. People think like, "Oh, you hate Jews," blah blah. It's like, no, I hate them killing kids in Palestine with my fucking money.
Exactly.
I have children and shit. I get sick in seeing that. It's just like absolutely the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. It's just.
And no innocent person should be dying, right?
I don't hate Jews, but I do hate Jews killing children with my money.
Exactly.
So as long as the Jew doesn't want to kill kids with my money, I'm cool with that.
The evil ones, right?
Yeah,
and
right.
It's like people can't separate that. They just say that they put words in your mouth. They think you're this because of this.
They do it deliberately because they want to intimidate and scare people. They have all these organized groups. I'm on the ADL list, the Stop Anti-Semitism. And for what? For not wanting to kill children. They try to intimidate you, try to get me fired. They'll call gyms to do seminars out. They call, Derek Moneyberg guy I work with, a Jewish guy. I do a lot of business with him. He gets like hate emails being like, that guy's an anti-Semite, blah, blah. Derek's like, that's my fucking friend. Don't tell me he's an he hates Jews. The guy's like,
and I just saw Derek yesterday. Right? I'm doing an event with them.
Yeah, you do stuff with Derek. There's
at the end of the month, right?
And he's cool too. He's not weird like it, like, oh, you're Palestinian. He don't look at it that way. He doesn't care,
Yeah.
So people need to be very clear that it's not, all Jews. And I think there are some people that start thinking, oh man, all these guys, they start seeing this stuff online and stuff, and they start thinking these people are evil. And people need to be very clear not to separate it, that it's, there are a lot of good Jews out there too.
100%. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's one of those like weird situations. Off to Palestine one more time. Do your family still have a lot of family out there and stuff? They talk to them? Is it like?
Yeah, we have family out there. And even now, like I said, the people that are out there now, they're saying the West Bank is getting so much.
But even the West Bank is just terrible. Yeah,
and it's hard, right? Because you're trying to figure out what you're gonna do, and then you're telling them
leave, but they're like, no one will take them. Literally, no one will take them.
Yeah.
And part of the reason the Middle East don't want to take them too is the Greater Israel Project. They want all that land, which is probably part of the reason why Syria is falling.
Yeah.
If they take them, they're gonna start going for more land. It's like.
And then, or you're saying you're gonna take them and you're gonna put them in these refugee camps in these other countries, and then all of a sudden. Obviously, a refugee camp, people are people. People are going to be fighting for food, fighting for this. And then they're going to say, look at these animals. This is why we don't want them.
They raided food trucks a couple times because they're hungry. Oh, they're raiding a food truck because they're starving. And then they start shooting them when they're trying to get food. Just like
and you're like, bro, these are real people, man. They're being starved. They're dying. So, like, obviously, if I have to grab something, if I need to do whatever I can do to get bread for my family so my kid doesn't starve, they're going to do it. And it's just like, it shouldn't have to be that way. There shouldn't be that way. There's so many charities out here that are willing to give, but they're not allowed in. It's a forced starvation, and it's just hard.
Every international group has said they're committing genocide, but our government just ignores it. They start attacking these organizations. What, you have like 20? They just call them anti-Semitics. What, like every organization, Amnesty International, what, the ICC. I'm terrible at the names, but all these different organizations all keep saying it's genocide, and our government just keeps ignoring it. It's like, at what point are we going to stand up? And
they're not human, right? Because even when you have these guys come out there, the press secretary, and they're just like emotionless when they're getting asked questions about it, and it's like, bro, are you not seeing this? Are you not looking at this? And when senators get called out in public and they get looked at and they just like walk away, act like they ignore it, and you get it makes you angry, right? It makes you to the point of, it's like, man, I want to just punch this guy in his mouth right now.
Yeah, it makes you start hating these politicians and influencers when you know they're just bought and paid. Some are blackmailed through Epstein.
It's so fake, and it's like these guys are supposed to be the leaders, and it puts these other people on the how people put like actors on a pedestal. And you're like, bro, these actors are just normal, dumb people. They're not smart.
Yeah,
and
right.
These politicians, just because they have an office, they're not smart. They're dumb people. They're evil. And it's like, in the old days, you think, oh man, look at this actor. Can I touch you? You're the greatest thing ever. And then you hear them talk, you're like,
yeah, actors are losing that thing though. They don't have the same star appeal they used to.
Yeah, but for like the casuals and the people out here, there's a lot of people out here that will just listen to you just because he said vote for him.
But the good thing is, because, before they had complete control of the information, you look who runs the media, who runs most of social media, it's all that same group. But now people like me can do podcasts, and people can go on Twitter, and we can fight back, and that's the tides are changing because of that. People are actually starting to see what's going on without the media lying, the media spin.
That's the real news. I went on after I won the belt, I went on a news channel in Chicago. And the lady was like, "Are you the champion of street fighting?" And I was like, but then I'm looking at them, and like I was there 15 minutes early, and all they're doing is reading a teleprompter. Like they don't have,
it's not real.
They don't have the skill of understanding a question. Like they can't have a real conversation with you. They just have to be like,
I just can't deal with fake people. Like, I don't want to bring on any. I've had some offers as like some famous people. If they're so fake, I'm like, I'm not going to bring them on my podcast. What am I going to talk to a fake person about?
It's like robotic.
I can't do that. I want people's real opinions, real discussions. And I bring on some extremely controversial people too. I want to talk to fringe people, communists, white nationalists, black nationalists. I just want to hear I don't agree with them.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely don't agree with white nationalists. Too many in training. There's too much brotherhood between different races. So it's like, it doesn't make sense, but I'll hear their perspective.
Yeah, and literally the training, there's a melting pot, right? There's so many people with different cultures, and that's why I tell parents now, put your kids into martial arts, put them in, even if it's regular jiu-jitsu, they don't have to be fighters or anything, but it'll get them seeing everybody.
Doesn't matter if you're poor, black, white. Yeah, everyone's an equal on the mats, and that's that's when someone's punching you in the face. It doesn't matter what race they are, religion, Muslim, Christian. You
realize, yeah, exactly. Yeah. We all bleed the same.
Even Sean Strickland, dumbass, but he was like talking some shit on Islam or something. He got into some of the Muslim fighters at the gym. I remember. Yeah, but I think he stopped after that. I don't think he didn't right away. He wouldn't agree to, but then when the guy got in, I think they sparred, went at it, and then he's like, all right, I won't. I forget what he said, something about Muhammad or something, and pissed off some of the guys.
He says some of the dumbest stuff in the world.
You can't spar these Muslim dudes and insult their religion, dude. And he didn't understand that.
Yeah, because you're gonna get killed by doing something like that. Like you said, it's different with these guys here. How much we believe in it, and if you do that, and we get the opportunity, it's not gonna be. You're gonna.
Yeah. Some of those guys remember. I don't know the details. Remember some of the guys wanted to fight him at the gym, and they were like, I think they sparred. I don't know the details. I better not point out, but no, they were getting into it over something Sean said. But I think they solved it. Sean, I don't know if he apologized, but they came to an agreement to be okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, must stop talking. You got in it with Sean, didn't you?
Oh, I hate his guts. Yeah, but it was one of those things too, right? Because it was literally probably 3 years ago. Palestine again getting bombed. It didn't just happen this year. They were getting bombed, and I posted about it, and he just wanted to put his 2 cents in, like, oh, Palestine should just bend the knee. And I was like, who the hell is this guy? And to say something stupid like that, insensitive like that, because he's a moron, right? He's doing it for the attention. He's doing it to show people that I say crazy things, and that's what I learned about him. He's just an idiot. He just says dumb things. He doesn't understand what it is. So for him to tell these people that these are their homes, these are their lives, they're watching their brother, their parents get killed, and for him to be so dumb and to say Palestine bend the knee and to put that out there on social media, it just shows how much of a moron he is. And that people could give their excuses. Oh, he had a rough childhood, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't give you the excuse to say something like that. It doesn't give you the excuse to degrade these people that are fighting for their lives. These people that have more strength in them than you do. They have more heart in them than you do. And that's what got me starting to hate him. So
would you fight him?
100%.
He's a lot bigger than you, but
I would fight him easily. Like the UFC, he had a fight.
He is a good fighter, though. You agree he's a good fighter?
No, I think he sucks. For me, I think I would break him. For him, for the most part, when people look at the way he fights, right, it's safe. He cheap kicks you to or keeps you on the outside, and then when you watch him spar, it's like, oh, he's so crazy in sparring. He spars a million times.
He beats up a lot of people like Sneeko. He gets. I like Sean, by the way. I say he's my friend.
Yeah.
We get along. Sometimes we butt heads. But I don't like the fact that he like beats up people like Sneeko. I was there that day. He had some Navy SEAL wanted to spar him for 5 rounds, which was dumb for Navy SEAL to ask.
Yeah.
But instead of him just knocking the guy out, he would like drop him, let him get back up, drop him with leg kicks. And the guy was too tough for his own good. It was fucked up.
Yeah, but do that in a fight, right? Do that in a
brutalize this guy. But he would like almost knock him out, and then he'd back up, let the guy recover for a second, then beat him up again. It was just like torture the poor guy.
Yeah, but that's a fake bully mentality.
Yeah, like, why would you do that? To
because
the
then
poor
he gets in a cage and he doesn't have that same energy. He doesn't do that same thing in the cage. But then he'll get on the mic and he'll say something crazy and stupid, right? But so it'll give him that popularity because nowadays that's what the fans are. They want that viral moment. They want you to say something stupid or ignorant, and that's where
he says some funny things too. But
but that's what the fans want to hear. And then so for myself, it's like, yeah, give me this fight, give me the next fight, and then we move up to middleweight. I'll fight him for 100%.
Yeah, like overall, I like Sean to get along, but he's done some things like attack Dewey Cooper, who comes to the gym for absolutely no reason. It's like, why would you do that? And Tiki Goosen, who's like one of the big managers, like you start attacking these guys who are like tied in the same circle, and it's like, what does this benefit you? You know,
it doesn't benefit him.
All it does is create drama in these circles where everyone rolls in the same circles, and that part seems stupid. But you notice he hasn't really tweeted anything pro-Israel in a long time. Maybe his positions have changed a little. I don't know.
I think he's still an idiot, but he just got the title fight now, right? So I'm hoping he wins.
Who's he fighting?
Duplessis.
Oh, that's going to be good.
In Australia. We'll see if he makes it to Australia or if he makes it out of Australia.
I like Duplessis, man. That guy's savage.
Yeah, I mean, he showed his last fight, right? I don't think he's the most technical or the most skilled, but he wins. He has heart. And I think that's what a lot of guys underestimate about him. He figures out a way to win. That Adesanya fight, he looked like he was dead tired. He was on his knees. Right. He stayed there,
and then
he still got it. I'm like, bro, what the heck? But his toughness is, I think, his biggest attribute.
Oh, I agree. Well, let's wrap this up. What? Anything else to add? What's your social media? Where can people follow you? And
appreciate you, brother, having me on. You follow me, Bully B170, Twitter, Instagram. I haven't got a TikTok yet, but we're gonna start building it.
Current UFC champion. You got the big fight coming up. So no date on that yet, right?
No date on it. Yeah. So for me,
that's gonna be a big fight.
100% ready for it.
So cool, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
Good one.
Appreciate you, bro.
Win. And lose or lose, I'm going to fight. I'm going to work. I'm going to press forward. I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim.
Jake Shields! Two-time Strikeforce middleweight champion. Two-time Elite FC Welterweight champion. Fought for the title in the UFC. Is back at 170, where he has only been defeated twice in his entire career.